This is Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron. Brought to you by Borders College.
Hello and welcome to Rugby Radio, which comes to you live from Poynter Park in Kelso this afternoon for a Premiership and Border League double-header. It's Kelso versus Selkirk, and as usual for such occasions, a big crowd expected. We're here with you till 5 o'clock to bring you live commentary on the game from Robin Purdy and David Ferguson. The match kicks off at 3 o'clock, but there's a full programme throughout Scotland, although there are some call-offs today. We'll tell you about them very, very shortly. We'll certainly keep you up to date on latest scores as they happen. Well, I'm going to bring in David Ferguson first of all for a quick chat about this afternoon, and apart from Hawick, who are doing very well in the top three, there's a bit of concern for the other three Borders sides who are in the bottom four at the moment.
Yeah, to be honest, Stuart, I don't think it's a huge surprise. I think Kelso, we're here today to see Kelso and Selkirk. We spoke to the captains at the beginning of the season, and Kelso know they've come into this league with a young team. They know it's a step up from National 1, where they come up from last season, and so they knew it was going to be a real battle for them. They're doing all right so far, and I think today is a big game for these two teams to see which one can maybe move away from that, from the sort of relegation worries, although there's quite a bit of season to go. Jed, we know that Jed as well started the season saying they were quite depleted in the size of their squad. Today we know they've got a number of injuries this week, and so they've had to put some boys in there for the first games, and boys who've not played very much for the first team, so that will be a huge test for them today against Hawick. And yeah, I mean, I think we knew these teams would be battling to make sure they were trying to stay away from the bottom, and there would be a challenge. And it'll be interesting to see how both Kelso and Selkirk, whether one of them put the foot forward today to say no, we're looking for a certain mid-table and the top half to see if we can be part of that rather than worrying about the bottom.
Jed Forrest, of course, really struggling with injuries, probably more than most, whereas Kelso and Selkirk, it's very much a rebuilding for them, a lot of youngsters coming through.
It is, but they both know that squad sizes are not huge. Kelso know that when they lose a few players, they're dipping into boys that have just come out of the Harlequins, and so they're young lads who are good lads, good talent. There's a lot of talent in the Borders teams. There's no doubt there's some good young players coming through, but they need a bit of time at senior rugby to bed in, to understand the difference in the pace and the physicality, particularly in the game at this level. And so it's hoping that they can hold on to that, Stuart. And that's what we want to see, don't we, in the Borders, that they can stay in this league and get up to speed with it and not fall through that trapdoor too quickly.
We've got, we've had 5 games, of course, with 13 to go, so an awful lot can change, but can you really see sort of a lot of changes happening?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've covered so many league seasons, and we were talking and laughing a bit earlier about how boring the top of the league is when you see the same names there. And yeah, those clubs have done well, but they have spent, I remember Mar coming up through the leagues with Craig Redpath at the helm, and they had, a lot of good young players that were bringing through, and they took time to build a squad that was capable of staying at the top of the game. They've done really well in the last 2 or 3 years, but that's what you need. These teams just need time at this level, and they can get used to it. And as you say, it's only 5 games in. I can see things changing. I can see it staying the same. I can see that we've got these teams at the top and it becomes a mini league with 3 or 4 teams at the top who are battling for the title. You've got the others trying to stay in mid-table and just get enough points to be safe, and then you're going to have a bit of a relegation battle to avoid that bottom place, and you just hope it doesn't become a Borders battle to avoid that one spot.
So it's Kelso Selkirk today anyway. Heavy rain overnight, but the pitch, I have to say, congratulations to Jimmy Roberts, the groundsman. It's looking absolutely perfect.
Oh, it's I was saying this morning to my daughter, watching the rain coming down in Kelso, that this game today could really make a mess of this pitch, and then you turn up and see how good the pitch is. And thankfully the rain has died away a bit. It's lighter now. It's not as heavy as it's been overnight. And as you say, Stuart, the pitch is looking fantastic. So they've got a good amount of grass on it, but it's still not really long. It's looking nice, so they'll be able to play rugby on it. And it doesn't look too windy either today. There's the flag's flying there, but it's not a gale. So I don't think we need to imagine that the game will be ruined as a spectacle at all by the weather.
Well, back to today then at Poynter Park, and earlier I spoke with head coach of Selkirk, Sesh Henderson, and also Kelso Director of Rugby, Neil Hinnigan. But let's hear from Sesh first. This was obviously a big disappointment last week, losing at the death to Musselburgh. 1 point or 4 points it should have been turned into just the one.
Yeah, disappointing. Without a shadow of a doubt, we gave them momentum in the game in the last 15 minutes, and they took that, and fair play to them. I've just actually said to the squad just now, so this game really couldn't come quick enough. We've trained really well, we've had an honest analysis session on where we went wrong last week in a couple of aspects of our game. So the guys are now just really, they're buzzing to get on with this game. Local derby game. If you can't get excited about that, then you shouldn't be playing.
Absolutely. What about your team news today? Because it was Ross Nixon at 10, which is a place he's reasonably comfortable with, I think, rather than the back row, which he has been playing. But you've also got a pretty decent centre partnership down there.
Yes, I mean, listen, every club wants a Ross Nixon. He can cover several positions, and Josh Beveridge wasn't available this week through injury, so Aaron goes back to 9, and Ross has slotted into 10, which he's done on several occasions for Selkirk pretty effectively, and he's done well at training during the week. And that's made us move a couple of players around, but still we've got strengths in the centre partnership with City and Josh Welsh now, and it's allowed us to bring Ben Pickles in on the wing, and we've got Finlay Field on the other wing, and we've got Callum at full back. So look, we've got in the right areas, we've got options to attack.
Yeah, and a nice mix of experience and new guys in there. I mean, Finlay Whelan's has really developed from the Selkirk youth into the first team effortlessly.
Yes, he trains really well, but he's got fast feet, and if you give him space, then he can cause a bit of damage. That's what we hope to do today. He's working really hard at training. He wasn't pleased with himself after the last couple of games in certain areas, but look, if you get in the front foot and give him space, then he can score tries.
Very strong front row that you have. In fact, that's your first choice. Luke Petty, Bruce Riddle and Zen Zavajic in the front row. Bruce Riddle still carrying that injury. Is he fully recovered, or is it...
He's trained well during the week. He doesn't look if his Cairn that knocked through training. He's back fully fit, and he's in the middle between Luke and Zen. A strong front row. I'll even try and announce his surname like you did. Well done.
Zavajic.
Zavajic, right.
Well, if you say it fast enough, people believe you. Whether it is true or not, I'm not sure. But that's going to be a great battle, isn't it, up front? Because they've got Terry Logan and Grant Shields and Charlie Marshall. So that's set up to be quite a nice little battle there.
It is going to be spicy in there, no doubt about it. And but the ground, walking across the pitch is going to hold a good stud, and hopefully, that the scrums are going to just be a good battle. And let's just see what happens. And the boys are keen to get an upper hand there.
I was going to ask you about the pitch, because from here it looks absolutely pristine, doesn't it?
Well,
you would never think that we've had hours and hours of rain overnight.
Well, driving down here, I went through so many puddles with the car. Then I didn't know what to expect when I got here. But to be fair, that ground really suits our game. Walking across it, there's nothing on top of it at all. It might up a little bit, but I can't see it cutting up that much over the 80. Are
we going to see another high-scoring border derby today? I mean, the weather obviously will play a part, but you've got a set of backs that like to run the ball, and so have Kelso.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. If it was going to be a heavy part, then it might be an arm wrestle. But today we've got an opportunity to play some good rugby for both sides. Because I think both sides can play good rugby, and I think it's going to be a good border derby.
Well, we look forward to it. Thanks very much indeed, and the best of luck.
Okay, thanks, Stuart.
Neil Hinnigan at the back of the stand now, and Neil, your team is pretty decent on paper there, and of course you're unbeaten at home. That's your first priority, protect that.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's obvious in this league that if you're not challenging for top 4 or for the championship, it's home form's important. Obviously we'd like to be better away from home, but at this present moment it's not worked out, but home form so far has been good. So yeah, we'd like to build on that today if we could.
And your front row is pretty much at full strength. Good to see Grant Shields and also, of course, Terry Logan back as well, and against a really good Selkirk front row as well. Yeah,
I would say that's one of the sort of biggest battles out there today. Would be both front rows look pretty good. I know Selkirk are strong in that area, so we're glad to have our starting front row or as many to pick from as we could to take Selkirk on.
Two teams that are very, very similar in many, many ways, and I know that talking to Sesh earlier, he was saying that he would love nothing more than a wide, expansive game. And border derbies this year have bucked the trend, haven't they? They used to be very much wars of attrition. That seems to have changed this year. Yeah,
even to my surprise it has. I mean, we were well out of the game at Hawick, and Hawick played some great stuff, and I agree you don't often see that in a Borders derby. Often or not, you don't see, even when one team maybe is struggling against the other, you rarely see a hammering, if you want to call it, and that's what we got off of Hawick, and Selkirk also did that to Jed, in the end. So yeah, there's been some wider scores and teams scoring tries galore in Border derbies, which is unusual, I must admit, but looking at the weather today, that might not be the case, but who knows.
Now, interestingly enough, you've got a very, very mobile pack, certainly in the second row. There's Cammy Brown and Keith Melbourne, both players, of course, who are on the 7th circuit, along with Murray Woodcock. And, they do like to carry the ball. Yeah,
they do. They're obviously the better ball carriers for us. And they're obviously fitter as well. They're the fitter guys in there that are mobile, and they've got a little bit of pace about them, so we're always looking for them to make a big impact, and we're always asking a lot of them, but the more everyone else chips in, the easier and better for the guys as well.
Now, obviously, looking at the table, you've kind of slipped down a wee bit, but of course you have got those 2 draws as well, so this is one that you'll really be targeting as points in the bank.
Yeah, we've got to target today as a home win. If we don't get it, then we'll have to regroup, rethink about where we are and such like. But, hopefully if we can get the points today, then that would just ease a bit of pressure and obviously put us in the middle of the table, which is, for just coming up this year, that's where we want to be. So overall, we're not far away from where we maybe want to be and not far off where we expect to be. So.
And of course, those big defeats that you mentioned against Hawick and Mar, I mean, they're 2 that you would expect to be at the top end of the table, and it looks very, very similar at the moment, doesn't it? You've got Curry, Mar, Hawick and Accies all battling in that top part of the table, and that seems to be happening every single year. What are they doing that the other clubs aren't?
Well, for me, Stuart, it's just you look at the depth of their squads for starters. I mean, we've got a fair bit of depth at Kelso, we've got huge numbers, but we lack maybe a bit of quality across the board for what you would say is Prem 1 depth. I think in National 1 we had the biggest depth in that league last year. Ourselves and Ayr really had we could have 5-6 changes at a time and we'd still be okay. But in this league, the teams that are the 4 or 5 at the bottom, I think if you're missing a few players, you tend to be on the end of one away from home, especially against the likes of those sides. So I'd say depth mainly, but you look at the athleticism in some of their guys as well, and I think players that have got ambition are going, and if you're in Edinburgh, you're heading for Curry, maybe Accies, these are the sort of go-to clubs if you want in the capital, and Hawick are just riding a massive cresty wave at the moment. They've got an abundance of talent that's stepped out of Super 6 and also players coming up the way, so they've got it right at the moment regarding that, and as again, Mar's just been there for forever at the moment, so yeah, there is a big gap I think between those sides and the rest, bridging it's not easy.
Okay, well, it's going to be a good match today. We're looking forward to it. Kelso against Selkirk. Thanks very much indeed. That's Neil Hinnigan. Before that, Sesh Henderson. Both, the director of rugby, obviously, of Kelso is Neil, and the head coach of Selkirk was Sesh. Now, after the break, a chat with Matty Douglas following the news this week that he's been announced as head coach again for the south of Scotland.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
If you're looking to develop or hone your green skills, look no further than Borders College, your local community college. Visit borderscollege.ac.uk today. Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whiskey making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
Your pet deserves the best, and that's why your pet deserves the care and treatment offered by Border Vets. We focus on delivering the very best care to each and every one of our patients and clients. We get to know you and your pet and offer treatments tailored to every animal's individual needs from our conveniently located surgeries in Galashiels, Selkirk and Earlston. Ask about our Pet Health Club for your cat or dog, giving you peace of mind by spreading the cost of vaccinations, regular checks and more. From dental care to travelling abroad and the whole range of veterinary services, bordervets.co.uk is where you'll find everything you need to know. Border Vets, where your pets are part of our family.
This is Rugby Radio, brought to you by Borders College.
Well, on Monday it was announced that Matty Douglas would again be head coach for the South of Scotland in the Inter-District Championship, which of course takes place in March and April next year. And I had a chat with him about the new coaching setup, Musselburgh no longer being part of the South squad, and also the upcoming fixtures, which will see all 4 teams play each other.
To be involved as a coach, it was, an amazing experience, and I just think the buy-in that we had, and kind of quite a short turnaround in terms of playing rugby and then trying to get the South going and games on Tuesday nights. I loved the environment. I loved working with the coaches and also the players, and I jumped at the opportunity to get another chance. Probably a bit unfinished business. I was gutted that we didn't manage to win the Inter-District, and I know the players were too. So look, to come in and coach again is another great opportunity, and I'm obviously thankful to that working group that are allowing us to take it on again.
Fresh new team as well. You've got Ian Chisholm back, which is great. Of course, he was representing Peebles last season. Now he's with Melrose. Who else have you got?
Brought in Gordon Henderson, so Sesh from Selkirk. He'll be part of the forwards coaching team. He's got a lot of experience, having been at Super 6, and I actually had a spell with him as a player. He was coaching here with Scotty and Nicky, so I knew him well, and he was obviously quite high up in the list when we saw the candidates, and I'm looking forward to working with him, and also Bruce McNeil will come into the coaching team. Bruce, he's obviously still got that bug to play, but look, whatever happens, if he continues to play well, then we'll look at him as a player. But either way, he will coach in some way alongside Sesh with the forward team, and then obviously we've got Ian Chisholm who will continue to take on the back. So look, we've got a lot of youth in there, but a bit of experience as well, which is an exciting coaching team. And already first 5 games of the season, you can see the quality of players that are putting their hand up that were there last year, but also a few, watching some highlights of yours, there's a few faces that I'll definitely be looking at consideration at the end of the season for it.
Quick word about Bruce, because he's around the 40 mark, let's put it like that. But the way he's been training and everything else, he's running around there like an early 30s.
Yeah, exactly. You tell us he was only 31 last week.
But I mean, what an inspiration to have in your team as well.
Yeah, he is, and look, I think that showed last season when we picked the squad. As a coach, when you're bringing quality players together, your actual input's very minimal. You set your stall out in terms of the way we want to play and our structure, but actually in the session, you're probably trying to get points across that is easier to come from players. And the likes of Bruce and Luke Petty, Sean Muir, boys like this that are experienced really help, and the balance of him playing and coaching might actually work really well. I know it works at Kelso. Speaking to him on the phone last week in terms of what his plans were, he's really wanting to give coaching a crack at the South, and credit to him, he's led Kelso up in the Premiership, and albeit they've started the season really well, but I'll not bring up the Mansfield game, but but apart from that, no, he's a quality coach, and again, like me, up and coming, and it's a great team to be involved in.
A couple of quick points. There's no Musselburgh this time. I think they're going to be in the Edinburgh camp effectively. How did that come about? And secondly, obviously, we've now got what everyone wants is to play everybody.
Yeah, look, I actually just found that out last week on a meeting with Ewan Swinton that Musselburgh weren't with us, and being part of that Edinburgh camp, it probably is a bit easier for them rather than coming down to the Borders. But look, it was great having them last season. So look, they've got some quality players up in there, Musselburgh, so I'm sure they'll continue to play within the Edinburgh district and probably make that Edinburgh team a bit more stronger. So it is great to be able now to play everybody. I did feel it was a bit rushed last season in terms of the turnaround and playing Tuesday nights and everything, whereas we've probably got 6 to 7 months to really plan. We've only got one home game in the Borders this year, but I think we'll try and make it one of the biggest spectacles for the South that's been in the last 10 years. So we'll try and push that. We've got a great team in the background that are led by Ewan Swinton, Gary Muir, so we'll certainly make sure that wherever it's played, we'll try and get everybody down and put a show on. And then again, we've got 2 away trips to already plan for. So
is Orkney one of them?
I haven't heard. I did see a comment on your post about Orkney. That'll be a I think that would be a great idea, to be honest.
Fabulous idea.
I think in terms of away trips, to go away with boys that he maybe didn't get a chance to, it only builds relationships, and that's what I've personally saw the last couple of months, is having worked with these players and coaches, that you do build a bond, and all these players are already trying to buy in to get into the squad, because look, we as coaches, we're still to look at that, and I'll be honest, we probably will just look at picking a squad, and that'll be it.
That's Matty Douglas, and we're all excited about the return of the Inter-District Championship, an unfinished business for the South after losing the final to Caledonia Reds last time out. But back to today, and we're minutes away from kick-off here at Poynter Park for Kelso against Selkirk. Today in National 1 though, Gala are playing Ayr at Netherdale. Let's hear from Ayr head coach Grant Anderson, and first the Gala director of rugby, Ewan Swinton.
We have a huge challenge coming down the road in the shape of Ayr. We're led to expect that we're going to meet a thoroughly professional organisation from the time they get off the bus through the warm-up and through the game. But at the same time, we're confident that we can take that on. We have plenty of strength in the forwards, plenty of pace in the backs. If we take the game to Ayr, challenge them, then I think that we can give them a fright. General consensus is that they will come at us and beat us. We don't buy into that. We will do everything in our power to give them a bloody nose at the end of the day. So I'm confident that the boys will give it everything, relish the challenge, and very hopeful that the boys will produce a fantastic performance and will come out on top.
We've obviously done our homework, had a little look at them. They've kind of had an indifferent start to the season, I suppose. Although, again, I've said to you before, I'm not really looking too much into results. We've got one or two faces returning as well from injury, which is a real positive for us. And I'm hoping that's going to continue to happen over the next couple of weeks, which will put us in a much stronger position player-wise than we've been in probably since the start of the season. So, looking forward to Saturday, and hopefully the weather's a bit better and we can play a slightly better brand of rugby and attack, and also we can make sure that our defensive system functions properly and I'll execute that area of our game.
Grant Anderson there, the head coach of Ayr. Before that, Ewan Swinton, director of rugby of Gala this season. Well, at Riverside Park today, another derby with Jed Forrest taking on Hawick, and there for us this afternoon is Alan Lorimer.
A wet Riverside welcomes the Premiership defending champions Hawick for the Round 6 Championship game against Jed Forrest in a match that will surely be influenced by the unfavourable conditions both overhead and underfoot. Hawick, lying third in the championship table, come into this game on the back of a very good win over Curry Chieftains last weekend. But their coach Matty Douglas was quoted earlier this week as warning that his team have to take their home form with them on the road. The Greens will field a relatively stable side, the two notable absentees being Dalton Redpath and Nick Little, replaced by Sam Frizzell and Tom Hope respectively. Former Southern Knights hooker Russell Anderson makes his first start for the Greens, and there'll be a debut for winger Fraser Anderson. Changes to the Hawick lineup, though, are minor compared to the massive number of alterations to the Jed Forrest side. Not exactly the recipe for success against a team like Hawick. Jed are still seeking their first win of the Premiership season, and few would put money on Round 6 providing a big W on the score sheet. The Royal Blues' much-changed formation includes a new front row and a new half-back pairing, but Jed welcome back the young twins who could cause Hawick problems, provided the home pack can win enough ball. That may be wishful thinking. Hawick are on a high after the Curry game and will be looking to garner another 5 points. The Hawick forwards should be able to assure ball, but of course this is a border derby, and as we all know, these matches have a dynamic all of their own, with form often going out the window. And it's raining.
It certainly is. It's raining here at Poynter Park as well. And another big match in the Premiership today is happening at Rayburn Place. Edinburgh Accies against top of the table Mar. Waiting for us there is a rather wet Hugh Brown.
Thank you, Stuart. Well, it's first versus fifth in the Premiership here this afternoon. As you said, Mar are on top of the table, 1 point ahead of Curry, whose game has been postponed. So this is a chance for the Troon outfit to enhance their top spot. However, Scotland's oldest rugby club, formed in 1857, are just 4 points behind the visitors and will be keen to knock them off their perch. Mar were dealt a devastating blow this week when it was announced that their former captain, Angus Johnston, has been forced to retire from the game through injury. His brother Ben Johnson is still in the team, though, at number 8. And speaking of teams, I was chatting to Accies coach Scott Bickerstaff. He told me that he's named an unchanged side to the one that beat Glasgow Hawks away last week. As for Mar, apart from the loss of Angus Johnston, they too are at full strength following their demolition of Kelso last Saturday by 48 points to 14. I think the pitch conditions will play as much of a part in the result as the players' abilities today, and frankly it's a miracle this game is going ahead given the weather conditions of the past 24 hours. I'm not saying we've had a lot of rain in the capital, but I'm sure I saw Noah's Ark on the back pitches. But we are ready for action here at a very wet Rayburn Place. It's Edinburgh Accies against Mar. Kick-off at 3 o'clock.
Thank you very much indeed. Always guaranteed a few puns is Hugh Brown. Let's have a quick look at what else is happening today in the Premiership. Curry against Glasgow Hawks, that match is postponed. It's the only Premiership game that's been a victim of the weather today. Edinburgh Accies against Mar, we've just heard about. Jed Forest will play Hawick. Kelso against Selkirk here, and Musselburgh against Heriots Blues is the other game. In National 1 today, a game that's been switched, Dundee against GHK. That's now being played at the Dundee Regional Performance Centre, which sounds 3G-ish to me, I have to say. Gala versus Ayr, we heard about earlier. Glasgow Accies against Biggar. Remember, Glasgow Accies had that huge win last weekend on the Friday night, beating GHK by 6 to 8 points to 5. Highland are playing Melrose. That's a game that we'll be very interested in, of course. Highland in second place, Melrose in fifth. They both love the 3G pitches, of course, so this one is happening at Canal Park in Inverness. Highland against Melrose. And Watsonians against GHA, that game is off, waterlogged pitch at Marside. Into Division 2, and Aberdeen Grammar against Berwick, that was postponed early this morning. Falkirk against Stewart's Melville, that is off as well. Stewart's Melville not having a front row, that was called off last night. Lasswade against Gordonians goes ahead. Lasswade top of the table, playing against Gordonians in fourth position. Newton Stewart versus Peebles, a very long trip for Peebles, who came unstuck at home to Lasswade last weekend, so they'll be trying to get back on the horse again. So they're in second at the moment. Newton Stewart in fifth place, who've come into a wee bit of form over the last couple of weeks. And then in National 3, top of the table, Allen Glens at home to bottom of the table, West of Scotland. That one should go the way of form. The Boroughmuir game against Howe of Fife is a waterlogged pitch, so that's been postponed as well. Hillhead Jordan Hill v Preston Lodge also postponed. Dumfries versus Cartha Queen's Park, that goes ahead. And Hamilton against Orkney, that game is going ahead, but it's been switched to Straven. Is that how it's pronounced, David Ferguson? Straven, is it?
Correct, Stuart, yes.
It is, yes. I wasn't quite sure about that one, but if you confirm it, then it's absolutely right. And then in Division 4, Garnock top of the table against North Berwick, that game is off. Greenock Wanderers against Murrayfield Wanderers. Ross High against Stuart Tray. Strathmore against Perthshire, and Whitecraigs versus Dunfermline. So we'll be keeping you up to date on those fixtures that have got the green light this afternoon. But we're not far away now from kick-off here at Poynter Park. It's Kelso versus Selkirk. Two teams are desperately in need for points to take them away from the danger zone. Over the next hour and a half or so, we're going to be bringing you live commentary in the company of David Ferguson. And first of all, a good afternoon to Robin Purdy.
Good afternoon, Stuart, and welcome all to Poynter Park, where we have the makings of a good old-fashioned border ding-dong between two teams that on paper at least look pretty evenly matched. Kelso will no doubt be the happier of the two with their start to the season, the promoted club having lost 2 of their opening 5 games to Selkirk's 4, but only 3 league points separate them, and both will be looking to put a bit more daylight between themselves and Jed at the foot of the table. Looking at the teams, Kelso have Archie Barber at full-back, the Tweedy brothers, Robbie and Hamish, are on the wings, Captain Frankie Robson's at inside centre with James Thompson outside him, and Andy Tate and Dwayne Patterson at 9 and 10 respectively. Grant Shields, Charlie Marshall and Terry Logan make up the front row. Cammy Brown and Keith Melbourne are an athletic-looking middle row, with Liam Tate, Murray Woodcock and the evergreen Bruce McNeil forming the back row. Selkirk have Callum Anderson at 15, Ben Pickles and Finlay Whelans are out wide. Josh Welsh and Andrew Grant Sutty are at 12 and 13. Ross Nixon's at 10 with Aaron McComb at 9. There's huge experience in the front row with Luke Petty, Bruce Riddle and Zen Zvarzik. The Boiler House is Andrew Cochrane and Callum Turnbull, with Jamie Turnbull, Captain Scott McClyman and Andrew McComb, the breakaway trio. Enforcing the laws of the game this afternoon's Michael Todd, with his assistants being Sam Ramage and Ian Hurd, and there's rugby journalism royalty alongside me in the commentary box again today in the shape of David Ferguson. So David, plenty to play for this afternoon for both these teams, so it should be an entertaining encounter, weather permitting.
Yeah, definitely, Robin. I think we've got some cracking players out there. You know, a lot of good young players as well to watch in both teams that are coming through. A lot of brothers on the park together, you know, on both sides, and that's always intriguing. But it'll be interesting to see how the packs go early on and who really gets themselves on the front foot, because I think we'll see some great battles right through that pack. You know, as you mentioned, the front rows. Grant Shields back for Kelso, you know, a veteran campaigner, but he knows how to play in front of his own crowd. You've got interesting half-backs there with Andy Tate and Dwayne Patterson. Dwayne Patterson, a cracking young player, as we know, come through in the Borders, and seeing him back in at 10 will be interesting today. Played there last little while, and up against Ross Nixon, who we know knows how to handle himself, and a great orchestrator, coordinator of how Selkirk play, and he's got Aaron McComb in beside him at scrum half today, so I'm looking forward to how that battle goes.
Yeah, and as far as the weather's concerned, the rain's coming down. I wouldn't say it's torrential, and as you mentioned, I think before pre-match, there's no great wind to speak of. So yeah, it's just a game with that sort of autumnal feel about it.
Yeah, it is. I think you know, the players will probably be pleased because what we heard last night. I mean, amber warnings about rain across the country, flooding. I think they probably expected it to be a lot worse today than it is. I think, as you say, the wind calmed down a little bit. I think Kelso, you know, will be playing left to right as we're looking out from the main stand, and I think they'll have what wind there is behind their backs, looking at the flags the way they're pointing. So I think they may have. We'll see if that has a difference in the first half. When it makes a difference, and you know, they can take advantage of the wind at their backs.
Yeah, and as always here at Pointer, the stand is filling up nicely. Kelso, a well-supported club, and there's a few Selkirk faces dotted around the place as well. So, sure to be a decent encounter, and it's going to be Selkirk to get us underway. Aaron McComb can play scrum half and standoff. Selkirk in their new kit today, fresh out the packet. Navy strips with white trim. Kelso in their traditional black and white hoops. So Selkirk kick us off. They're attacking what you'd class as the bottom end here, kicking away from the club, or the changing rooms rather, and it's been taken in the first contact of the afternoon by Liam Tate, the blind side, and it's that man, Dwayne Patterson, who's put up the high kick, but it's taken comfortably by Callum Anderson. So Anderson's off and running, and he swats off the first man, which was Cammy Brown, the second row. Now it's back with Patterson, but Patterson's hit hard in there by a Selkirk player. That was Anderson chasing his own kick, so Kelso here have maintained possession. However, he did well to ride that meaty challenge. And it's going to be Andy Tate right on his own 22. Shapes to put it in the box, and that's exactly what he's done. And again, Anderson's underneath it, and he's taken it well, Anderson. This time he's tackled by Hamish Tweedy, right in front of the stand, right in front of our vantage point here at Pointer Park. First carry of the afternoon for Luke Petty. There's a Kelso player in over that, but Selkirk have again come up with the ball. So first chance to put out the backs. It's Andrew Grant Sutty. He's a dangerous runner, but he's tackled by his opposite number, Frankie Robson. McComb's at the bottom of this. He feeds Nixon. Nixon filling in at standoff today, but he's fumbled it forward, and now Kelso have got the ball with a chance to mount their first attack, but no, the referee's calling them back for no advantage. And yeah, David, as you'd expect, Border Derby, challenges flying in, no quarter asked, none given so far.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see though how much both teams are looking to play. They're moving the ball quickly, aren't they? You know, it's not the forwards taking the ball up. They're looking to play, they're looking to move the ball into space. The kicks so far have been into space, and they've asked questions from both fullback Callum Anderson, and also from Dwayne Patterson. So yeah, that augurs well.
First scrum of the afternoon will take place pretty much on the Kelso 10 metre line. Centre field, it'll be Andy Tate to feed, the hugely experienced Andy Tate, ex-captain of the club, ex-Berwick man. Couple of tries this season from his 4 outings, which is a decent strike rate, 1 and 2, but the referee's going to reset them.
I'd say the same on this side, please.
Just giving the instructions to the front rows. Michael Todd, today's referee. Always a wee bit ominous when the first scrum of the day needs to be reset. Hopefully we won't see too many of those, but we will give a bit of leeway for what is sure to be wet conditions underfoot, but you have to say the pitch is in immaculate condition given the rain that there's been. All credit to the ground staff here at Kelso. So that scrum comes in, 2 experienced front rows, and there's pretty much parity in there, but Kelso, too forward by Dwayne Patterson, and it's going towards that touch line. Has it drifted into touch? It has indeed, and the flag of Sam Ramage goes up first. 50-22 of the day, David.
Yeah, I tell you, that you see the difference of Terry Logan there. Terry Logan, a big tight head for Kelso, but Selkirk seemed to get a bit of a shove on, but he held it, did really well in the tight head to give his own, to give Kelso the time to get the ball out and away. And look at the difference. They've gone from, as you say, their own 10-metre line to now attacking inside the Selkirk 22.
Yeah, first throw in of the afternoon for Charlie Marshall. The skiddy surface, ideal for 50-22 attempts, and it was gathered in the middle of the lineup by Keith Melbourne, the big Irishman in the Kelso ranks. Now Kelso trying to rumble it forward, and it's starting to inch as they head towards the 5-metre line. It's Charlie Marshall still in possession. Referee calls it a tackle, so it's gone to ground, and it's Tate. Tate's going to go to Robson, Kelso captain, National 1 winning captain last season. And again, Tate's at the basin. This time Melbourne, his first carry of the afternoon, first of many you would imagine. Again, Kelso in possession. Patient build up, and Bruce McNeil, it's squirted out the back, and he had to tidy it up, so a couple of Kelso forwards come in to support, and it's Tate again, but Tate's been harried there by Bruce Riddle, so sticks it up the jumper, head down goes himself, Tate. Selkirk bodies piling in, but again it's came back on the Kelso side as they pick and go round the corner. Inching up towards the 5-metre line, Patient in possession, fed out by Grant Shields to another of the Kelso forwards. Tate, this time he finds Logan, the big tight head. He goes to ground, and again Tate's going to look for the forwards, and this time it's Logan's fellow prop Grant Shields, and Grant Shields twists and he turns, and he's over the 5-metre line now, so very much a prominent attacking position for Kelso here. Liam Tate, the latest Kelso forward to have a bash. Patterson and Dwayne Patterson, the groundwork can be done by the forwards, but when it needed a bit of twinkle toes, a bit of rugby nous, the space opened up, and Dwayne Patterson, David, was only too happy to take it.
Yeah, and it's quite fitting, isn't it, because he's the one who put Kelso in the position. That great 50-22 from Dwayne Patterson from his own half that gave them that platform off the line out, and they just took their time. They were really patient there, Kelso. I was wondering that Kelso's defence was good, and I just wondered whether Kelso were being aggressive enough in trying to make the yards, but they just kept composed, didn't worry, and when they moved it, you could see Dwayne was going to move it, and he saw there was just a little bit of space, and it was enough for him to get through from about 10 metres out.
He did indeed. Smart play. Try in the main created by Patterson, as David said there, by the 50-22 early in the piece, and it's going to be Patterson to attempt to turn his own 5 points into 7. Pretty kickable conversion for a marksman of his quality. Begins his run up. No problems whatsoever for Dwayne Patterson. So we've 6 minutes gone here. Kelso all the possession, all the territory, and they're into an early lead, 7 points to 0 on the balance of play. David, that's a deserved score.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll be pleasing for Kelso and the Kelso supporters that the first time they've had an attack, Kelso, good platform, and they've turned that into points, and they come away with points. I think, looking ahead to Scotland-Ireland tonight, that's what Scotland are going to need to do as well. Yeah,
that's exactly right. That will do us if Scotland are as efficient in the opposition red zone as Kelso were there, and the kick-off's gone straight to Liam Tate again, so another chance for the Kelso forwards to set it up, but the shrill of the referee's whistle will indicate that a penalty has been awarded, and it's been awarded the way of Kelso, so the first indiscretion by Selkirk this afternoon, and from centre field, halfway between his own 10-metre line and 22, Dwayne Patterson will look to send this to the touchline, and he's made a pretty decent fist of it, takes it up to the Selkirk 10-metre line. So another decent position from which Kelso can attack over on that far side here at Poynter Park, in front of the brollies of some hardy souls who've decided to watch this from out with the shelter of the stand. Marshall doesn't look the straightest, but referee's happy enough. Went to Cammy Brown that time, the recipient, so another chance for Kelso to try and trundle this forward, and it's Logan at the back. Tate's going to go in for Luke now as the Selkirk players trying to make a nuisance there, but Andy Tate's off and running. He's gone up the far side, he's seen a gap. Tate, ball's up and over the try line, and it's been dived on by a Kelso player. The referee, it looks like Murray Woodcock who's flopped on it. Great burst of pace by Mood, but no, the referee Michael Todd has awarded or deemed that it was a Selkirk player that got back. Andy Tate took off down the far side, but it looked like there was no space, but he found the space, he kicked it forward, and Murray Woodcock certainly was there or thereabouts in terms of palming that down, but there was also a Selkirk player, so it's going to be a Selkirk drop out from their own line, and a let off there for Selkirk. They were maybe a wee bit asleep at the wheel there. The drop out comes to Dwayne Patterson. He weighs up the options, comes back inside to the heavy traffic, sets it up for his forward. So Tate again, good start to the game for Tate. He goes to Melbourne. Melbourne's well tackled there by Bruce Riddle, and again Tate feeds it forward, and it comes back inside to Woodcock, and Woodcock went out the back door to Robbie Tweedy, and again now Kelso very much in a prominent attacking position, up halfway between maybe the 22 and the Selkirk line, and it comes out to Patterson. Patterson's seen a bit of space in behind Patterson, but that's been well marshalled by Callum Anderson, and he flops on it. And David, Kelso have started this very much with attacking intent.
They have, and it's clever play. You saw the kick to touch there from the penalty. They played the line out, and Andy Tate saw there was a chance on the blind side. So they're asking questions all over the park of Selkirk, and Selkirk are just struggling to keep control of that.
The left boot this time of Callum Anderson takes the drop out, and it falls into the arms of Hamish Tweedy. Tweedy's hit hard, but he's managed to recycle. Tate again in the midst of everything at the moment, and again Liam Tate, that's his third or fourth carry. They've been effective as well, and there's a cross kick pass in there by Patterson, but that's been well taken in by Ben Pickles, the ex-Southern Knight. Scored on one of his 3 occasions this season, Ben Pickles. It was hacked forward by McClymont, and now Tate's got his standoff Patterson. Now it comes to Cammy Brown with a hitch kick and go, the footwork playing in the second row today. Brown 4 on his back. Patterson's gone into play scrum half this time on the Selkirk 10 metre line. Charlie Marshall, good defence there by Selkirk. Archie Barber taken in by James Thompson, the recent recruit from Berwick, one of the Thompson brothers that have come up from the coast this season. Offside was mentioned there by Michael Todd, but the arm's not out, so play continues. Frankie Robson goes out the back to Barber. I don't think Barber was the intended recipient there, but no, Michael Todd's going to bring them back.
1 and 2 offside.
And you'll quite clearly hear there that Luke Petty and Bruce Riddle had wandered offside. So Bruce McNeil, Kelso player coach, points in the general direction of the corner, which would suggest that he's going to ask his standoff Dwayne Patterson to try and nudge this down the touchline. All possession and territory so far, about 11 minutes gone here at Poynter Park, has gone the way of the home side, and they're 7-0 to good to show for it. And that's a decent kick by Patterson down into the 22. The Kelso lineouts functioned pretty well so far. Couple of lineouts, Charlie Marshall once to Melbourne, once to Cammy Brown, successful on both occasions, so he's going to go again. Marshall, they're maybe 8 or 9 metres from the Selkirk line here. Marshall this time to Melbourne, but slightly over Melbourne's head, but taken in at the back by Logan. So Kelso still in possession. Tate to Marshall. Marshall hit hard again by the Selkirk tacklers, but again the ball comes back on the Kelso side, and it's another carry from Liam Tate, hugely industrious so far in this game. Tate comes back on the switch to Patterson. Patterson out to Tweedy. That's Hamish Tweedy on this near side, but the flag of Ian Hurd comes up, and that's always the the danger on a kind of a damp day like this, David. You get you get towards the touchline, and it makes it easier for the opposition to usher you out.
Yeah, indeed it does, and they did really well there, Selkirk. Selkirk's defence is doing well.
Yeah.
You know, Kelso are asking questions all over the park. They're moving the ball really quickly. A lot of puffing out there. You can see the players. There's ball in play a lot in the first 10 minutes, but they're working hard, Selkirk, and managing to keep them out.
Yeah, I think both coaches will probably be pleased enough. Selkirk not to have conceded any more than one try, and Kelso with the promising start that they've made. That's a nice tidy line out by Selkirk in their own 22, and they've got the drive on, and it's Andrew McComb who's now taking it to ground, and it'll be his brother Aaron.
You're making a mess of it, Aaron.
The kind of French style little general that can play 9 and 10, goes back to the huge left boot of Callum Anderson, who sends it down the Poinder paddock, and it's been dropped. We mentioned the wet conditions. Hamish Tweedy looked fairly comfortable under that, but that's what can happen on a day like this.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's something that Selkirk and others should bear in mind. High balls on players on a day like today is going to be tricky. A little bit of wind, a little bit of breeze there, swirl, and these wet conditions, it's not a surprise to see a drop. I think we'll see a few more of those.
Yeah, and there's probably no better man or few better men in the league than Callum Anderson to exploit these kind of conditions. He's got as big a boot as anybody. That left peg, he really can send it as he did on that occasion. So 8 metres in from the stand, it's a Selkirk scrum. McComb to feed just inside their own half. Selkirk straight in the second row, as pretty much happens every scrum at every level nowadays. And there's a bit of chat going on there. Bruce McNeil into Zvarzak. That's going to be a reset scrum regardless. So
we stay down, we drive through. We stay down, we drive through.
Referee Michael Todd letting them know in no uncertain terms what he is looking for at scrum time. As they crouch and come together, interestingly, Cammy Brown's gone to number 8 for this defensive Kelso scrum. McComb, as they set and come together. Good shunt on, or start of a shunt at least by Kelso, but it's came back Selkirk's way, and a little half break there. Strong running by Finlay Whelans. He's got that in his locker. McComb out the back to Callum Anderson. Anderson, it's taken in there by Robbie Tweedy. Now he's looking for support, and a wee bit of space opens up for James Thompson on that far side, but Kelso have shut the gate. But Cammy Brown opens the gate and steals another couple of metres, and he goes to Robbie Tweedy. There's a Selkirk player in there making a real mess of things, but again, back on Kelso's side, and route 1 by Frankie Robson. That's what that needed there, just for them to compose themselves and reset. Tate shapes the kick, and that's what he's done. Doesn't make a massive amount of yardage with it, and it's taken in by a Selkirk player. So Selkirk now in possession. They've had no real territory to speak of in this game. They're still deep inside their own half here. Looking for some face play. Bruce Riddle, scorer of 8 tries, no less, from hooker for Riddle last season. He was Selkirk's top try scorer. Anderson again goes to Dwayne Patterson, and Dwayne Patterson's seen a wee bit of space, but Anderson's come across and taken the space. And again, he's kicked it downfield into the Kelso 22, so Archie Barber's having to hair back here, but he's got a bit of time, Barber. He's returned it. Finlay Whelans, he goes inside to McComb. McComb looks like he's thinking about a 50-22, and he's seen a bit of real estate, but it's now drifting towards the touchline. And Tweedy comes in to pick up, and he's the latest to kick, and his brother's a mile offside there, but it's going to drift into touch, and bit of aerial ping pong there, David, and a net gain for Selkirk.
Yeah, I mean, quite a big gain from Selkirk actually. You know, they started in their 22, and a couple of big kicks from Callum Anderson, who, as you say, we know he can kick well with that left boot. He got there, and that, as you say, at ping pong, Robbie Tweedy just is skewed his kick into touch, and now it's a really good first platform in the game for Selkirk to attack from.
Yeah, so let's see what Selkirk have got in an attacking sense. Have defended pretty well so far, the try aside, but that line out is a mess. That won't please James Head, the forwards coach, in the slightest.
No 50-22.
It's actually Ross Nixon. The standoff, seen a bit of space on that far side, so he sent it to the opposite touchline. So for all that, it's going to be a line out nigh on the same distance from the Selkirk line, but this time it's going to be in Kelso's favour, so it didn't do too much in an attacking sense. The line out was a wee bit of a mess, in fairness, didn't give Selkirk any real ball to work with. 17 minutes gone here. Kelso 7, Selkirk 0. Trying conversion to Dwayne Patterson, playing standoff today. As the rain continues to fall here, Marshall takes the safe option, goes to the front where he finds Cammy Brown. And again, Kelso forwards have had a wee bit of joy from the post line out rumbling maul. This time it's gone to ground and there's a bit of pushing and shoving there. Cammy Brown, Zvarzik, but another penalty's been awarded against Selkirk. That's them up to 3. Slightly getting on the wrong side of Michael Todd a wee bit. So Patterson's going to take a mark here, just outside his own 22.
To me, say Mo peeled round. One of your boys has joined on before 8 come round. That's why he's offside.
Yeah, clear and concise
because one of your players has made contact
reasoning from Michael Todd as to the penalty. And again, a good touch finder by Patterson takes play up and into the Selkirk half. The line out, as I mentioned earlier, has functioned well so far in tricky line out conditions, it has to be said. Marshall's been on the money, and that again doesn't look the straightest. This time the referee picks up on it, and we thought there was one earlier, David.
Yeah, he did. He got away with the earlier one, but not that one. It's interesting that the wind seems to be going the other direction, but he's not going to get away with that. That it's the wind blowing it to Kelso. But I'm a wee bit disappointed at Selkirk there. They had a chance, the platform, and the platform. Yeah, the line-up was messy, but to kick that ball away, when you're first time in that half, I think Selkirk are going to have to work harder to hold on to the ball and get through the phases.
A couple of quick updates for you. Edinburgh Accy 17, Mar 3. 2 tries for Accy so far. Jed Forest 0, Hoyk 5, and Musselburgh 14, Heriots Blues 0 in the Premiership.
Interesting score developing there at Rayburn Place by the sounds of it. Edinburgh Accy's couple of early scores against league leaders Mar, and that's been a Selkirk scrum after the line out, which became a wee bit of a mess, but they've managed to sort it out at the back there, and now it's Macomb at the back of a ruck. It's hit up there by Andrew Cochrane. Now it's out again. Anderson hasn't gone for distance this time. Was he taken out? Yes, the referee deems that he was. Michael Todd, so the first penalty conceded by Kelso this afternoon.
Because you changed the line in front of him.
Yeah,
because you changed the line.
Changed the line, as he explains there, so the penalty's going to come from where the kick landed. And it's going to be Aaron Macomb to try and gain Selkirk some territory, something they've not had too much so far in the 20 minutes of this game, but they've got a line out here. 15 metres inside the Kelso half. Bruce Riddle to throw in, almost from an identical position where the last Selkirk line-out didn't go according to plan. Luke Petty comes over and gives the message. And this time it looks like they're going to Turnbull at the middle, but the big Irish hand of Keith Melbourne got in there and palmed that back on the Kelso side. But again, a bit of a mess on the wet and slippery turf. I've seen it come back Selkirk's way, so Selkirk now with their first foray into the Kelso 22. Macomb at the base, and there's a wee bit of space on this near side. Nixon, can Nixon get out the back door? No, there was a hand in there by Hamish Tweedy.
Penalty only.
Yeah, penalty's been... Yeah, high shot. So say Michael Todd, but you can hear him say there that the player has slipped into it, so there'll be no further sanction other than the penalty, which has been put to touch by Aaron Macomb. So a really good place from which Selkirk can do some damage here. They're just outside the 5 metre line. Line out to come. Bruce Riddle to throw in. Keith Melbourne got his big mitt in there the last time and won it for Kelso, so they'll need to try and keep it away from him. Riddle goes to the middle on the lob, and again Melbourne has got in there It's been spilled by Cammy Brown for Kelso, however, so here comes Selkirk again. They've got out of jail there, Selkirk. Andrew Grant Sutty, he's all power and he's seen a bit of space. Grant Sutty heading towards the line, hauled down just short. Selkirk now in the ascendancy. He's been dropped, however, by Aaron McComb, but there's been an infringement in there by Kelso. So we'll hear what Michael Todd's got to say.
12. Be very careful. So you just enter this area and you're giving away 2 very quick penalties. But no clear release, then kicking through the rock. Have a chat. Attack in space, have a chat.
Again, good communication there by Michael Todd. So McComb once again sends it to the touchline, where Selkirk have not had masses of joy so far this afternoon. I think it certainly suggests that there's a height advantage on the Kelso side. He really is a totemic figure in the middle of that line out, Keith Melbourne, and he's got his hand to the last 2, but this time it's been taken in cleanly by Selkirk, and now they start to trundle forward, and again the arm comes out by Michael Todd, so they've got a free ball with which to work. It's been hauled down on the 5 metre line over on the far side. Grant Sutty takes a couple of Kelso defenders to pull him down, and a wee bit of space opened up there for Nixon. Nixon's been turned, but no, the ball's managed to come back on the Selkirk side, so it goes to McClymondt. McClymont's got a try in his locker, and he takes it up to 2 or 3 metres short. McComb to Callum Turnbull. Callum Turnbull's over the line, and Callum Turnbull dots it down under the posts. And David, they've clawed their way, they've not had much by way of territory and possession so far, Selkirk, but they've clawed their way back into it.
They've hung on there because, Kelso will be annoyed because, Kelso won a couple of lineouts, stole a couple of lineouts from Keith Melbourne there, getting in, and Selkirk handed the possession back, but then they gave it back with silly mistakes. Cammy Brown got caught coming out of his own, sort of away from the 5 metre, spilled the ball. That gave him Selkirk the chance to attack. Grant Sutty got held there as he went. We thought he was over the line, but he was well tackled by Frankie Robson, but there was a penalty given away there, and then again at the lineout they gave them easy ball as well. But Selkirk worked hard, good conversion going through there to level the scores, from Aaron McComb. But actually I think it was Callum Turnbull that took that line out, I think on the far side, that actually won it, and so to see him finish off was probably just reward. The final line out that they actually got, they showed what they could do off the back of that.
Yeah, Callum Turnbull, the scorer, as David mentioned, has been converted by Aaron McComb. So 24 minutes gone, Kelso 7, Selkirk 7. Dwayne Patterson shaping to kick off. Callum Turnbull, he's first time I've seen Selkirk this season, but he's put himself about, I'm led to believe, with his carrying and his tackling, and he's come up with a try just then, and it's been kicked off long by Selkirk into the 22. The kicked off long by Kelso, rather. It's been taken in by Selkirk in the 22, and the clearance kick has been shanked
and damaged a brolly. Yeah, it's been the big groan there from the stand.
Yeah, it's been shanked into a brolly, and that brolly's looking a bit the worse for wear, and it's not a day that you want the brolly to be anything other than functioning perfectly. But it's a Kelso line out over on the far side, and it's been knocked on. So Selkirk playing with a scrum advantage. McClymondt goes down on it and presents it just outside their own 22. McComb's at the base. His brother providing support, Andrew McComb. There's a bit of off the ball stuff going on there on the Kelso side. Bruce McNeil in and around that, as you'd imagine. Let's have a listen to what Michael Todd's going to say.
Captain. I don't need you. Captain. We've had 25 minutes of good rugby. Clean rugby. We don't need that. Have a chat with your 2. He's clearly trying to buy a penalty. Nothing's hit him. I've seen what's happened. He's tried to milk it. Have a word with him. The penalty against him next time if he tries. We're restarting with a Selkirk scrum.
Selkirk captain Scott McClymondt being informed there that his hooker, Bruce Riddle, tried to milk a penalty. Michael Todd having absolutely none of it.
Good refereeing there, Robin.
Yeah, it was.
Really clear. He's stopping it now, nipping it in the bud, making sure players know that he's seen it. He knows what they're trying to do. The players have got to listen to that now.
Yeah, Michael Todd, he's had a good game so far this afternoon. Appears to have the players on side as well. So after all that, Selkirk scrum just outside the 22. but they're going to have to reset that. As mentioned earlier, a couple of experienced front rows this afternoon. Luke Petty, Bruce Riddle, Zen Zwarzek for Selkirk, the latter being a Polish international. He's actually got 3 tries from 4 this season as well. The ex-Pontypool man, prolific strike rate for anybody, never mind a prop, but that's gone down again, and the penalty goes the way of Selkirk. So Kelso have conceded 4 reasonably quick-fire penalties. They've conceded 4 since Selkirk last conceded 1. And again, Macomb sends it down the park and into the Selkirk half, the Kelso half.
Okay, some quick updates for you. Edinburgh 17, Mar 10, Jed Forest 0, Hawick 12. It's Musselburgh 21, Heriots Blues 5, and into National 1, Dundee 14, GHK 6, and Highland 7, Melrose 0, and also Gala 5, Ayr 0, all latest scores.
And we're back here. The line out, Selkirk line out again's been panned back by a Kelso player, and Bruce McNeil's got a head of steam up here. He's well tackled by Ross Nixon, though Ross Nixon was never going to shirk that. Terry Logan with another big carry as well, and there's a Selkirk player all over the place on the Kelso side there. That was Callum Turnbull, the try scorer, so penalty advantage coming the way of Kelso here. Tate comes to Robson. Robson double tackle on him by Cochrane and Nixon, but again Nixon with another tackle there when he was on the ground. Marshall's hit hard by Luke Petty, but they're going to come back for a penalty advantage. Centre field, just out. The penalty's going to be just maybe a metre or two outside the 10-metre line, so you'd imagine on a day like this it's out with the range of most kickers. We'll see what Kelso are going to do here. Frankie Robson remonstrating with Michael Todd about something he...
If it's on purpose, but if you can't see, you've released it.
Yeah, so Patterson's not going to have a crack at the post. He's put it down and into the Selkirk 22. 5 metres maybe inside the 22. Sam Ramage, the assistant referee, on that side. So, as mentioned earlier, the Kelso lineouts went well this afternoon. Their own lineouts so far in the 29 minutes, and they've stolen at least 3 Selkirk balls as well. So they'll be looking to gather this one in and set up the rolling maul. It's been taken in there by Brown. Marshall's at the back. Marshall, Bruce McNeil looks up at the referee, carried it forward, gone to ground. Now it comes to Melbourne. Melbourne takes 2 or 3 Selkirk players to haul him down, and one of them managed to do enough to see Melbourne dislodge the ball. Now it's Ben Pickles. Melbourne, again there's holding on in there, and there's a bit of pushing and shoving. Selkirk were playing with an advantage from a knock on there, but that advantage is over, so say the referee. Again, Selkirk players holding on to Kelso players there, and Kelso players just starting to get a wee bit disgruntled there. Cammy Brown was the most recent, but Selkirk now in possession. Nixon dummies and goes, comes back into the traffic. Good line speed by Kelso on that occasion. Macomb kicks for territory. There's Anderson trying to get under that, but there's a bit of space opened up for Archie Barber here. Now Archie Barber's into open prairie, and it's a foot race here. Barber's over the line, and he scored. Great play by the youngster, the young fullback, and David out of nothing. That's a wonderful individual score.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about, strength and depth and whether Kelso have that. We heard as well from Neil before the game about the fact that they struggle to have the quality and depth, but they've certainly got some really good young players coming through here, good players that know what to do when they get the ball, and Archie Barber showed there, it's been a really stuffy game for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Penalties either way, kicks not going where they want, players being held onto on the ground, and then suddenly you get a little bit of space, and that was fantastic by Archie Barber. Took the ball, a great bit of pace, took him away from all the defence, meeting the last man, a good kick forward, and beat everybody to get to the touchdown. Yeah, the game needed that, I think, a bit of livening up.
Let's quickly go to Raeburn Place. Hugh Brown.
Well, a great start for Edinburgh Accies. In just 2 minutes, a try by Cameron Bain was successfully converted Then 4 minutes later, Jamie Looms kicked over a 25-metre penalty to make it 10-0 to the home side. Mar got a penalty back through Sturgeon in 16 minutes, but just 2 minutes after that it was Jamie So who got the second try for the home side, and a curled conversion by Jamie Looms means that it's currently Edinburgh Accies 17, Mar 3.
Dwayne Patterson shaping to take this conversion against a kickable one from inside the 15-metre line, and the flags go up, so all of a sudden Kelso out to a 14 points to 7 lead over Selkirk. There's 32 minutes gone in this one, and in all of that, Kelso hooker Charlie Marshall's come to the sideline. He didn't look in the best of health with the trainer there, so Ewan Knox has come on. Ewan Knox, a fairly useful replacement, it has to be said, and that's a kick-off by Macomb, and it's not gone the 10, so to compound Selkirk's woes, it's going to be a Kelso head and feed to a scrum, bang on centre field. Didn't go the 10. No, Kelso players had a nibble at it, and it drifted into touch. So we've got maybe 7.5 to 8 minutes remaining of this first half, as the rain continues to fall here. Scrum will be fed by Andy Tate, and the Kelso backs have split the field here. So a good attacking position, possibly also for a 50-22 on a day like this. Cammy Brown, as mentioned earlier, is playing number 8 for that scrum, but the pass wasn't the most sympathetic from Brown to a scrum half Andy Tate, and it was guddled by Tate and knocked on, and David, a wee bit of a chance going a begging there.
Yeah, you can see, and that's what crept into Kelso's game. First 20 minutes they looked really good. First 15, they looked like they were going to perhaps build up a lead, but they've just, mistakes, penalties have got into their game in the last 10 minutes, and that's allowed Selkirk a foothold. Selkirk took their chance with the try, and Kelso are just not managing to put it together quite. That was a bit of brilliance from Archie Barber to score, but in terms of team play, Kelso are needing to get that together, because they're letting themselves down in the last 10-15 minutes, with just not being able to get the phases.
So, Selkirk scrum just inside the Kelso half. 15 metres in from the stand. Macomb to feed. Pretty even in the scrum so far, but when I say that, Kelso get a shunt on, and he's been tackled at the back there, the number 8. That's Andrew Macomb, but they've done well, the Selkirk forwards, to come back round and secure that for their scrum half. Grant Sutty takes it forward. He's got plenty of bush about him, but he's got a bit of pace and rugby ability as well. He's a real positive return from injury from him this season. McClyman, the ever-willing workhorse, or one of them in the ranks. There was a pass out the back door from Macomb to nobody in particular, and the penalty's been conceded by Selkirk, much to the annoyance of the coaching staff down in front of us. Sesh Henderson, Mike Jaffrey and James Head looking none too pleased with that one. And as soon as the penalty was awarded, the Kelso coaches were pointing towards the corner, telling Dwayne Patterson exactly what they want him to do with this. And they sent it down to around the 22-metre mark from around halfway. So again, decent territorial gain for Kelso here as the clock inches towards half time. Maybe 5 minutes remaining. First line out for substitute hooker Ewan Knox, the Hoyt ground worker, and he's gone to the tail this time, and that's a lovely clean line out to Brown. He's been a useful source of line out ball this afternoon so far, Brown. And again, they're trying to rumble at Kelso, and they've made 4 or 5 metres here. Knox is at the base, pumping the legs. Knox, he breaks off. He's hauled down by Macomb, Aaron Macomb. But Kelso have maintained possession as the heavy artillery look to truck this up, and they do so in the shape of Grant Shields. Now it's out to Tate. Tate with the tip pass out to Cammy Brown. Cammy Brown, they're maybe 10 metres from the posts here. On the wraparound, they've got player coming in, Hamish Tweedy. It was Dwayne Patterson wrapping round to provide the dummy, but no. Penalty conceded by Selkirk. That's them up to 4 conceded now by my count. So, something to think about here, Dwayne Patterson, because Kelso have got a penalty. It isn't a kickable position, but no, he's having none of it. He's shaping to put it to the touchline as they look to get their 3rd try. Change the complexion just before half-time of this game. If Kelso could get a 3rd on the board, 14 points to 7 at the moment as it stands, 2 tries to 1. 3 minutes remaining in this first half, and it's a Kelso line out 5 metres from the Selkirk line. Knox goes to the safe hands of Melbourne in the middle. Now they're trying to rumble it again, as they've done so often in this first half. Kelso, Logan is towards the back of this, trying to get up ahead of steam, and it's just starting to get that now. Liam Tate's in there as well as it inches forward towards the Selkirk line. Up towards the line now. Michael Todd's having a look, and he's awarded a try. Michael Todd, you have to come round the other side to get a proper view of it, and it looks like none other than Bruce McNeil who comes up with the ball, David.
It is. Couldn't quite work out with us. Liam Tate, Bruce McNeil. Liam Tate's getting a few plaudits there, but Bruce McNeil too. Yeah, I think you're right. They knew what they were doing, weren't they, Robin?
Yeah,
I mean, 2 penalties there. They've put them to the corner. They knew they had a chance in the last few minutes of this half to go for that other try. And there is a big difference between going in at half-time 14-7 up and going in at half-time 19 or 21-7. So,
absolutely,
the persistence paid off there for Kelso.
Yeah, looked like Bruce McNeil, but we'll chalk it down to the Kelso forwards nonetheless. I think McNeil will certainly claim it, you would imagine.
Yeah. He knows how to get himself in there.
He does. Yeah.
It's try time.
As Patterson, he's 2 from 2 so far this afternoon. This is his trickiest attempt, though, 5 metres in from the near touchline. As the crowd falls to a hush. Struck it well, Patterson. Is it drifting back in? No, it's gone just past the left upright. So, as David said, 19 points to 7 gives a different complexion as half-time approaches. Daylight now between the teams, and it's a 3rd Kelso try as well. So they'll be looking in the second half to get the gloss of the 4th try, which of course will give them the bonus point. Win, lose or draw, as Macomb kicks off to Patterson. Patterson sends it into the darkening sky, and it's Anderson. He puts it back. Tate's seen a bit of space where Anderson would have been. Finlay Whelans is having to hair back here now. Is that going to go all the way over the line? Yes, it is. So Whelans will touch this down. There'll be a dropout, but again, good territorial gain by Kelso. It's going to be a Selkirk dropout on their own try line. Macomb, 30 seconds on the clock according to Michael Todd.
What a difference, Robin, that makes, doesn't it? That rule, a dropout from your own line rather than a 22. You're under pressure.
I'm not sure it's a great in that particular instance, David, but we'll maybe come back to that, because Patterson sends it through, and that's a cute kick by Patterson, but well marshalled. No, it's been dropped by Aaron Macomb, and in his frustration he's come out with a bit of a tip tackle as the referee signals for half time. So Kelso started this game very well. They had all the possession and territory. They went to score at the good, and Selkirk came back into it, David, but just a couple of Kelso tries there have put the daylight between the two teams.
Yeah, interesting first half. Kelso have been strong in the scrum. They've had a better line out, good line out in the first half. When Dwayne Patterson, they've got a player who can put them in the right places, playing the game in the right parts of the field. They're not mucking about in their own half. And yet, when they had a few mistakes, and towards the end of that, in that second quarter there, you saw how Selkirk could get a foothold, and they did have chances. They'll be frustrated, and I think Aaron Macomb is probably still frustrated there at the moment about the ball he gave away in the halfway. That space, that possession that Kelso had, the kicks to touch to get that 3rd try, all came from him trying a throw out the back door.
Right.
When the simplest thing, you were talking earlier, Robin, about he's like a French style scrum half, can play scrum half stand off, and it's just knowing when to do the right thing, isn't it? And that was just a poor decision. Didn't have players round about him. He had players lining up to attack over the halfway, and we all, we know a lot of sympathy for him, because he's trying to get the move and he's trying to do something different there, but it, they lose the ball, they lose the penalty, it goes up there, and it ends with Kelso scoring that third try, which just sort of closes the door on some of that good work from Selkirk in the second quarter.
It does indeed. So half time it is here at Poynter Park, the home side in the ascendancy. It's Kelso 19, Selkirk 7.
More from Robin and David a little bit later on, but after the break we're going to catch up with the latest scores up and down the country at the halfway stage.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Borders College is your local community college with qualifications recognised and valued by employers. To find out more, visit borderscollege.ac.uk today. Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whiskey making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
Your pet deserves the best, and that's why your pet deserves the care and treatment offered by Border Vets. We focus on delivering the very best care to each and every one of our patients and clients. We get to know you and your pet and offer treatments tailored to every animal's individual needs, from our conveniently located surgeries in Galashiels, Selkirk and Earlston. Ask about our Pet Health Club for your cat or dog, giving you peace of mind by spreading the cost of vaccinations, regular checks and more. From dental care to travelling abroad and the whole range of veterinary services, bordervets.co.uk is where you'll find everything you need to know. Border Vets, where your pets are part of our family.
This is Rugby Radio, brought to you by Borders College.
Traveling in a fried-out combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land down under, where women go and men plunder? Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover. He was 6'4" and full of muscle. I said, do you speak my language? He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. And he said, I come from a land down under, where leaders flow and men chunder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
Music from Men at Work featuring Scottish singer Colin Hay, and while you've been listening to that, we've been collating the latest half-time scores from up and down the country. Let's have a look at what's been going on in the Premiership. Obviously, Currie and Glasgow Hawks is postponed. Edinburgh Accies 17, they're in 5th place at the moment. Mar, top of the table, 10. That's Cammy Bain and Jamie Soule scoring tries for Edinburgh Accies. Paxton scoring a try for Mar, and Colin Sturgeon kicking the rest of the points. At half-time at Riverside Park, Jed Forest 0, Hawick 33. Hawick with the try bonus already in the bag. It's Kelso 19, Selkirk 7 here at Poinder Park at half-time, and Musselburgh 24, Heriots Blues 5. Musselburgh having a couple of good results lately, pushing them up the table and away from that relegation zone. That was Ross Brown, James Ferguson and Ben Heber are the 3 try scorers for Musselburgh. Into National 1, it's Dundee 24, GHK 11 at the break, and already Dundee getting their try bonus. At Netherdale, it's Gala 8, Ayr 14. A couple of tries for Ayr there. Michael Kirk and Zach Howard getting over the whitewash. Highland 7, Melrose 3 is a half-time scoreline. Still waiting on news from Glasgow Accies against Biggar, but the game between Watsonians and GHA is postponed. Into National 2, and Aberdeen Grammar and Berwick is off. Falkirk and Stumel also off. Lasswade 7, Gordonians 12 at half-time there. The Lasswade scorer Darren Tiffany, but it's Newton Stewart 23, Peebles 6. So bad news at the moment from Peebles, who also had a very slow start last week at home against Lasswade. Another scoreline we have at the moment, quite an important one in National 3, it's Hamilton 13, Orkney 10. Orkney unbeaten at the moment, that game which has been switched to Straven. Well, Kelso are back on the pitch, and so are Selkirk. The score here 19 points to 7 in favour of Kelso. Let's hand you back for the second half commentary to David Ferguson and Robin Purdy.
And it's going to be Kelso to kick off this second half. Kelso will kick away from the changing room end here at Poinder, attacking what you might class as the bottom end, and that's a high hanger by Patterson, and his open side, Murray Woodcock was underneath it. He got up to it, Woodcock, but he's knocked it on, so the first scrum of the second half will go the way of Selkirk, and it will take place just inside their own 10 metre line. Looking at the teams, it looks like all who departed into the sheds at the end of the first half have returned. There was a sub for Kelso in the first half. Charlie Marshall looked like he took a dull one, and he was replaced by Ewan Knox. So the personnel remains the same as it stands. Morgan Thompson, Andrew Sweeney, James Glendinning and Murray Hasty, those remaining on the Kelso bench, with Fraser Eason, Jake Milburn, Connor Ward, Blake Cullen and Ryan Legg looking to enter the fray for Selkirk. So the scrum has taken place. Andrew McComb picked it up, and it was fumbled by Callum Anderson, who came up to first receiver, and the faithful here, or most of the faithful in the stand, crying for a knock on. Nothing doing, says Michael Todd. He said it went straight down. Looked possibly like a fumble from here, David.
Yeah, it looked like it, but they maybe got away with that. I mean, we can see again the effect of kicks. In the first half we saw some good kicks that made a big difference. Dwayne Patterson, great on a kick, and then we saw some poor ones that put Selkirk under pressure.
So line out to Selkirk. Inside the Kelso half, loose pass that's had to be gathered up in midfield by McClymont. Good work by McClymont. McComb's at the base of this, and it's fumbled again, this time by Jamie Turnbull, but that one definitely did go back. Oh, it's been stolen by Kelso though, and they've got numbers on this near side. Hacked downfield by Tweedy, and there's a foot race on here. His brother's after it. Oh, and there was open prairie in front of him, and the foot race was against the big Polish prop Zen Zwarzik, no less, but he shanked it off the left foot. Robbie Tweedy, if he'd managed to keep that in, David, it was, you had to fear for Selkirk there.
See, as they're running in the left side, suddenly as the shirts came into sight, you could see it's 11 against 3.
Yeah.
You thought there's only one winner here, but unfortunately for Robbie, as you say, shanked it off the field. If he'd just been able to knock it infield, he was in.
Infield it was in indeed. So Bruce Riddle to throw into the Selkirk line out in the 22, and again Melbourne got a hand to it, but Zwarzik has come through and manage to rescue the ball for his team. So, not been functioning all that well, it has to be said in all honesty, the Selkirk line out this afternoon. But Callum Anderson, again, puts the left foot to it, and it's back to Robbie Tweedy inside the Kelso half. Sees a wee bit of space, Tweedy, and has a run. Still going, Tweedy. He goes outside to his brother, Hamish. Kelso and Selkirk players are in over that. But here comes Cammy Brown on the hoof. Came on the short ball from a scrum half, Andy Tate. Tate's at the base of this again. He goes to Grant Shields. Tried to ride the tackle there. Did exactly that. The centre, James Thompson it was. So Kelso in possession in the Selkirk half, and it comes out to Woodcock. Woodcock cuts in off his left foot up into the 22, only just. Tate's got Melbourne. He tips it on to Bruce McNeil. Little bit of footwork, drops the shoulder, doesn't get over the gain line, so goes to Robson. There's a bit of pushing and shoving again off the ball, but again it's came back on the Kelso side, not making too much of it. So Andy Tate's seen a wee bit of space in behind the Selkirk defence, and Tweedy's done well to get over that. Pickles has dropped on it. It's going to come back on the Selkirk side. They're deep inside their own 22 here, near the near side touchline. McClymondt tries to carry up, I beg your pardon. It was Callum Turnbull, actually, the Selkirk try scorer, but he was hit hard. The ball, Kelso looking for the ball on this near side, and it's came back to Andy Tate, so it's been snaffled in there by Kelso. Replacement hooker, that's Knox, the latest to hit it up. Tate's got round there, but the Kelso forwards have taken it in, and Bruce McNeil's up and over the 5 metre line here, but he's held on that fraction too long. That was good work in there by Bruce Riddle, among others.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, Selkirk did have the ball, but they coughed it up again. Kelso got it back. I mean, we saw that in the first half, didn't we? It became messy. That's what I mean. The way Kelso started, there are more men coming onto the ball and a bit of pace. That's obviously what they've been told at half time. You know, they were lacking a bit of that in the first half, but you've got to hold on to the ball.
Yeah, they've had the better of the scraps, if you want to call it that. Kelso, they've, you know, when it's got a bit scrappy, it seems to be, you know, them for which the ball comes back on their side. So
it was actually really good by young back row Murray Woodcock, who stole it in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And he's a clever player, big rangy 7. You don't quite know what his best position would be, but he's effective wherever he is.
Yeah, very quick. Murray Woodcock, very athletic, came up through the system here at Kelso. I know Neil Hinnigan thinks very highly of him as a young prospect, but it's Selkirk in possession, and it's out the back door again to nobody by Andrew Grant Sutty. But the referee's pinged Kelso for jumping across at the line out. It was that man, Murray Woodcock, the aforementioned. So it's going to be another Selkirk penalty, and that just relieves the pressure that was just starting to build in the early part of this second half. 6 minutes gone. Remains Kelso 19, Selkirk 7. And it's going to be a Selkirk line out on the Kelso 10 metre line, so they've gone from almost their own line, fully 55 metres or so, as Luke Petty comes to give the code to his hooker Bruce Riddle. Both have over 100 games in the navy blue jersey as Selkirk, and that's a much better line out, and it's off the top ball. So McComb goes to Grant Sutty. He had to stall his run just a wee bit, the powerful centre, but they've recycled it well, and that's cohesive play. Whelan's the latest to chip it forward. Now that's going to drift over the try line, however, and it's going to be flopped on by Robbie Tweedy, the Kelso winger, who was over covering, but as was the case in the first half, it's going to be a dropout from behind the defender's line. Wasn't the best of kicks by Whelans. Good play though, better play, David, by Selkirk. Probably their most cohesive bit of play of the whole game so far.
Yeah, and it shows what they can do, what they're capable of if they hold the ball, retain the ball and keep possession. Yeah, good play, good attack. Just probably unfortunate they had to chip ahead there.
Yeah, they've had periods like that this season, Selkirk. They've got the ball this time just outside the 22. It was Grant Sutty who was the recipient of the dropout. There's a flat pass there by Nixon. Callum Anderson, one of Selkirk's better performers so far this afternoon. High tackle, so penalty coming. Petty He trundles it into the tackling Liam Tate. So they're playing with a free ball here. Nixon has a crack. Takes a couple of Kelso men to pull him down. Kelso players in over that. Grant Sutty again. Grant Sutty's evaded the first challenge. Still going here, Andrew Grant Sutty. He's up towards the line. He's over the line, but he's been held up, so they'll come back for the penalty advantage, and that's what he brings, Andrew Grant Sutty. They really missed him last season, Selkirk, when he was injured and wasn't available, but he had no right to get anywhere near the line there.
No, I know, very evasive, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's a strong player. You can see why he's a go-to player for Selkirk, but that's, a good set piece, good line out down here, attack across here, hold on to the ball, and the penalties come. The longer you hold on to the ball and don't give it away, you will draw penalties from the opposition, and Selkirk certainly started this half brightly.
They have indeed. Selkirk's best phase of play so far in this match has seen a penalty be kicked to the 5 metre line by Aaron McComb. So again, it'll be Bruce Riddle with the arrows. He'll be looking to hit his man, and you'd imagine if he does exactly that, it'll go up the jumper here, and they'll try and trundle it towards the Kelso line. 5 metres out, Selkirk over on the far side in the shadow of the scoreboard. But again, a Kelso hand has got in there, but it's been knocked forward, so it is back on the Selkirk side by Hooker by Crook. Zwarzik was in there, and they're going to have to go again. The try scorer, Callum Turnbull. Callum Turnbull's up to the line. He's over the line, Callum Turnbull. Second try of the afternoon.
Lost forward, then the penalty advantage from 16 offside.
The referee's explaining to Kelso why that was the play was continuing. Definitely a try. Frankie Robson's coming to discuss things with Michael Todd, but Michael Todd sent him back towards the post. So, as was the case in the first half, David, strong stuff from the second row, Callum Turnbull.
Yeah, and it's ironic actually there that they didn't quite win the line out. It was a bit scrappy, but I was going to say 2 good line out wins, and ultimately they did get the ball back from that line out, so it came off the line out. 2 good set pieces there has given them a platform, and this half, as opposed to the first half, they've finished them. They've turned them into some points.
Exactly, and if Andrew McComb makes this very kickable conversion, which he does, Selkirk are right back in it at 19 points to 14 down. So all of a sudden it looked like Kelso had started the half brightly enough. They were deep in Selkirk territory, but a couple of cheap penalties conceded.
Yeah, you look back to that Tweedy break, that kick that he put into touch when all he had to do was knock it inside, and he was winning the race to score a try. That could prove very costly.
Yeah, big moments in border derbies, and that could be one. And the kick-off has come into Selkirk possession, and as they've done often this afternoon, they've employed Callum Turnbull to use that big left foot of his. This time it's Aaron McComb, the latest Selkirk player, to hoof it down this damp Poinder Park paddock. Dwayne Patterson now sends it into the sky. And it's been allowed to bounce by Pickles, and he's had to do well to mop that up, and he's seen a wee bit of space. He's given his forwards the opportunity to get back round. And the referee awards a penalty to Kelso, however. So just when they were starting to get more than a foothold back in this game, Selkirk they concede a penalty on the halfway line, which you'd imagine Frankie Robson will send to the touchline. The referee's called time off because it looks like there's an injury here.
Frankie Robson just struggled. He tried to get to his feet and he just fell back on his backside there. The player told him to stay down. I think a couple of players round about him were a bit concerned about him. He was the man in there. He did that work and managed to win that turnover, and ultimately a penalty on the ground. So great work by the centre. But I think there's a few concerns in the Kelso team about their captain at the moment.
And whilst they're sorting that out on the pitch, some latest scores for you in the Premiership. Currie and Glasgow Hawks postponed today. Jed Forest 0, Hawick 40 is the latest score from Riverside Park. Edinburgh 17, lead leaguers Mar 10, Kelso 19, Selkirk 14 is the latest score here. If you've just joined us from Poinder Park, and no further scoring in the second half at Stony Hill, it's Musselburgh 24, Heriots Blues 12, International 1, Dundee 24, GHK 11, Gala 8 It's now Ayr 20, a couple penalties for Ayr, who've moved ahead in that one. Highlands 7, Melrose 3 at Canal Park on the plastic pitch up there, and Watsonians GHA is match postponed. Into Division 2, and 2 matches off today. Aberdeen Grammar against Berwick and Falkirk against Stewart's Melville. Lasswade 7, Gordonians 12. That's Lasswade top of the table, unbeaten at the moment, and Gordonians in 4th place currently with their noses in front in that one. Newton Stewart 23, Peeble 6, and the other score we have is in National 3 at the moment. Hamilton 13, Orkney also unbeaten at the moment, 10.
And I'm pleased to report that Frankie Robson is well, so he's going to continue. And after the treatment, the running repairs to him, the Kelso penalty has been taken from inside their own half, and it's been sent by Patterson down into 22, so it'll be Knox to throw into this Kelso line out in a good attacking position, but it's been knocked forward by Cammy Brown. It was at the tip of his fingertips, and almost the first, from memory, I think it's about the first Kelso line out that's gone awry this afternoon.
You could see it just slipped through his hands, didn't it? Wet ball slipped through his hands, and you see at professional, international level how much time the hookers spend with towels drying the ball, don't they? Don't quite have that luxury here at club level, and that proved costly there.
Yeah, unfortunately not for the club hookers. They've got it so easy, the pros.
I think Cammy Brown will be thinking the same thing at the moment.
Yeah, he's been good this afternoon. Cammy Brown, he's been into most of what's been good from Selkirk, and playing the back row as well, of course. But it's a Selkirk scrum inside their own 22. Macomb to feed, and he looked for the free kick, Macomb, and he's got it from Michael Todd. So Anderson coming forward for the free kick. And he's really given that some. Callum Anderson, he's not played for touch, and it's gone deep into the Kelso 22. So from one 22 to another, Archie Barber's got back there, scorer of the second Kelso try, and he's put it to the touchline. So another good net gain from Selkirk, using the very big boot of Callum Anderson. I think it's clear the game plan from Selkirk on this wet day has been to deploy that left boot as much as possible, I would say.
Yeah, and I think, Dwayne Patterson's been doing that for Kelso, trying to play the game in the opposition half. Selkirk weren't very good at that in the first half hour, but then when we saw Callum Anderson getting into the game and doing that has turned things in Selkirk's favour a bit.
Riddle to throw in. Bit of jostling in the middle there, and another free kick has been conceded, and Aaron Macomb's taking it quickly, and he goes to Andrew Grant-Sutty. He's hauled down though. Macomb again, and the arm is out, so another free ball being played, and Pickles has seen a wee bit of a gap, and he's half gone through it. Pickles, they're up towards the 22, still playing with a free ball, Selkirk here. McClyman checked his run to evade the tackle from Liam Tate, still with the advantage. Now it's Nixon with a cross kick pass to nobody, so they're going to come back for the Selkirk penalty. Just waiting to see what Michael Todd.
Captain.
He's going to have a word with the captain here, Michael Todd.
Actually, hang on, I'll get the line out. Lads, Mark's here. 16, late and off the ball.
As you may have heard him said there, Ewan Knox, the replacement hooker, was late and off the ball. More good, concise communication from Michael Todd. Consulted with Ian Hurd, his assistant, for the mark, and from that mark Macomb has sent it deep into the Kelso 22 for a line out, very similar to position from where they eventually scored the last time. So Riddle, on what is a tricky day for hookers, has found his man, Andrew Macomb, right in the middle of the line out, and now he's at the tiller here, Bruce Riddle. Now I think it's back in the hands of Petty as it inches forward, and it's been held up. Somehow they've managed to repel that, Kelso, but still in the possession of Selkirk. Great defence by Kelso. It looked for all the world that Petty was going to score there, and they've shunted Selkirk back. The Kelso defence, they're back over the 5 metre line, but they've still got a good position from which to work. Here's Varzik, takes it in, looks to Michael Todd for a penalty, and there's Kelso players in over that. Selkirk can't see the ball here, but Macomb looks interested, so one would assume it's still on the Selkirk side. Macomb looking for something from the referee, and it's going to be a scrum to Selkirk, but good defence there, David. It looked for all the world that Petty was over there.
It did. You know, they stopped them really well, and Kelso came out and they drove them back off that line, good 5-6 metres back as well in the next tackle. That was a strange one there. I wasn't quite sure. It looked like, for all intents and purposes, I'm not sure if it's Liam Tate or Bruce McNeil that was over the ball and wasn't. You know, there was no release coming there. I thought the referee was going to give a penalty against Selkirk, but ends up with a scrum. So, yeah, Selkirk have been working hard. They're doing really well there to make that pressure pay. A couple of boys still fighting. Bruce McNeil. Not surprised.
The experienced campaigners coming together there.
Zenja Varjik is on the injured list at the moment, just having a little chat just outside of the scrum. So let's update you with Edinburgh Accies 17, Mar 13. A further penalty for Mar takes them within 4 points at Rayburn Place. Jed Forest 0, Hawick 40 is the latest score from Riverside Park. Kelso 19, Selkirk 14 here. This really boiling up for a good final 20 minutes. Musselburgh 24. Heriots Blues have got their third try now. They were 21-0 down, remember. It's now 24-17 at Stony Hill in the Premiership. In National 1, Dundee 24, GHK 16. A try for GHK just a couple of minutes ago. Gala 8, Ayr 20, Highland 7, Melrose 3 in National 1. And in National 2, Newton Stewart 26, Peebles 6.
Aaron Macomb just about to feed this 5 metre scrum here, the Selkirk 5 metre scrum. 19 minutes gone in the second half. It's Kelso 19, Selkirk 14. It's at the base. His brother there is caught, however, Andrew Macomb. So Aaron has to go in and try and tidy up. Kelso players in over there, and they've come away with the ball, Kelso. And it's Tate. Now they've got a man over on this near side as well. Oh, not the most sympathetic of passes by Archie Barber to his winger, Robbie Tweedy. And just a little shaft of light appeared there, David.
Yeah, just, you know, good young players are flying away there, but Barber's pass was not a good pass and gave Tweedy no chance there. So another mistake. To be honest, the Kelso management will be really disappointed because the last 10 minutes we've seen a succession of mistakes from Kelso, both in the scrum and the line out, but also in open play and things like that have just stopped them having any possession and allowed Selkirk to keep their momentum in this Kelso half.
And of course, let's not forget Kelso looking for that fourth try, which will give them a bonus point regardless of what the result outcome is here. But it's going to be a Selkirk scrum, 10 to 12 metres outside the Kelso 22. Good shunt on the last scrum by Kelso led to the fumbling at the base there, or the mopping up at the base by Macomb, but Macomb picks and goes this time. Selkirk or Kelso crowd suggesting that he run into his own player there. Andrew Cochrane, the latest Selkirk forward to come round the corner. Aaron Macomb goes to Zvarjik. He's tackled there by one of the Kelso forwards. It was Grant Shields. There's definitely crossing in there. The referee, it looked like he was going to award a bit of crossing against Selkirk there, but Selkirk still in possession, much to the annoyance of most of this Poynter Park crowd. Nixon, Macomb now, Macomb to Petty. Petty was hit by Knox there. Maybe he looked a wee bit higher than the sternum that, but referee says nothing doing. Callum Anderson still in possession, Selkirk here. Macomb out to his brother Andrew. He pirouettes in the tackle, sets it up. Kelso again, Tate in there, trying to disrupt things for Kelso. Bruce Riddle. Bruce Riddle's lost the ball and it's been taken in by the Kelso hooker there. Knox so. Kelso now, and it's all just become a bit harum-scarum. So Bruce McNeil picks up and goes, sees a wee bit of space. Oh, he tried to free the hands now. It wasn't actually knocked on there. The referees suggested a Kelso knock on, but I think we could see from here, David, it was a Selkirk hand that knocked it back.
It was, and we praised Michael Todd in the first half. He had a lot of good decisions. His communication was really good in this game, but he's had 2 misses there. He just missed a crossing in midfield that was pretty obvious. The second one that happened, he didn't seem to see it or seem to ignore it. Didn't think it was a crossing, but it was pretty blatant by Selkirk. And then another one there, that was Bruce McNeil got away, but and he was well tackled, really well played by a Selkirk player that tackled him, but it came off the Selkirk hand. And that should have been a play on and advantage to Kelso, because they looked like they were in danger of breaking away into the Selkirk half there, but he's pulled it back for a scrum scrum to Selkirk.
Edinburgh 17, Mar 13, latest score Jed Forest 0, Hawick 47 now, another converted try for them at Riverside Park. Heriots have got their 4th try at Musselburgh, they're still behind, it's 24 points to 22 now at Stony Hill. Dundee 24, GHK 21 in National 1, and still Gala 8, Ayr 20 at Netherdale. Highland 3, Melrose 3, low scoring game on the plastic pitch up there at Canal Park in Venice.
Selkirk scrum just outside the Kelso 10 metre line. James Glendinning has come on for Kelso, exciting young player, signed in the summer from Gala. He's replaced Liam Tate, who's been industrious this afternoon. Nearly 23 minutes gone in this second half. It remains Kelso 19, Selkirk 14. And again, not the best at the back of that scrum. Josh Welsh has had to mop up. It came back as far as him, the outside centre. And there's a substitute on at scrum half for Selkirk as well. It's Rory Legg. Rory Legg has Macomb gone to 10. Either way, it's Callum Anderson, and Callum Anderson sent that high. That's coming down with snow on it, but Archie Barber's underneath it. Barber spilled it, but it's gone backwards, and Barber's taking it back into his own 22. Goes to Tweedy. Tweedy puts it downfield. Anderson lets it go into, or lets it go over the touch line, and it's going to be a line out to Kelso, just outside the Selkirk 10 metre line. So as mentioned, Legg is on at scrum half, back at the club this season. Selkirk common riding Hammersman this year, and he's on, I believe, for Ross Nixon, so that means that Aaron Macomb has moved from 9 to 10 as the throw-in comes in, and it's palmed back to Legg, and Legg finds that man Macomb. Macomb goes to McClymondt, who's lurking with intent in the midfield. Legs round again. Macomb dummies to Grant Sutty. Anderson this time with the right foot, puts it down towards touch. There was nothing on there, and that's probably smart play by Anderson. Actually, Ross Nixon, I believe, has gone to centre. He's still out there, Nixon, anyway. As another Selkirk sub enters the fray, it's the burly figure of Jake Milburn, the prop, signed this season. He's got a try to his name so far from the 4 games. He's coming on for Zvarzik. Shakes his head on the way off. And in all of that, the line-out's been taken by Kelso, just outside the 22, and taken in by Cammy Brown. So Tate to Frankie Robson, ever willing Robson, takes it up and over the gain line. Bruce McNeil steals another couple of metres. Selkirk players were up pretty quick there, some in the crowd suggesting they may have been too quick. But Robson again, hungry for work in the last few seconds. Robson, McNeil's at the base of this. Logan screaming for it, but Logan's now come in to help out at the ruck, so Andy Tate is going to put it in the box and give his winger a chance to chase, and that winger is Robbie Tweedy, and it bounces just in field. Josh Welsh shapes to take a quick one, but no. So it's going to be a Selkirk line out, all kind of being played in the middle third of the pitch at the moment.
Let's quickly go to Raeburn Place.
Well, Aki's led by 7 points at the interval, and the only score of the second period so far has been a Mar penalty in 52 minutes. Some good rugby being played here despite the weather conditions. At Raeburn Place, it's Edinburgh Aki 17, Mar 13.
And the line-out's been taken in by Kelso, tidied up by Ewan Knox at the tail. Dummy sold by the gargantuan figure of Terry Logan, but he's been hit back in the tackle this time, Logan, but it's going to be maintained by Kelso. just inside the Selkirk half. Little chip kick, it was touched by a Selkirk hand, and that enabled Brown to hair through and get a mitt to it, but he's knocked it on in the process. So Selkirk now in possession just inside their own half. It remains 19-14 here. 67 minutes on the clock. Patterson just outside his 22. Patterson feeds Tweedy. Tweedy again puts it down the park, and it's jumped over the outstretched foot of Aaron McComb. So Aaron McComb goes inside to Callum Anderson. Anderson sends it down the middle of the park, and it's drifting towards the Kelso 22. Just outside the 22 is Dwayne Patterson, and he's the latest to send it. Aaron McComb's there, and again Callum Anderson. Starting to sound a wee bit like a broken leg here, but the aerial ping pong is happening, and it's Dwayne Patterson. Dwayne Patterson sends it into the Kelso sky, and Josh Welsh is underneath this one. Welsh now, a wee bit of space in front of him, Welsh, so he straightens and goes, and he's made a wee bit of territory. Welsh up and into the Kelso half. He's hauled down by Glendinning there, one of the substitutes. Now it's the open side flanker, Scott McClymont, the captain. Didn't make too much yardage, and that's came off a Selkirk hand there. It was the double try scorer Callum Tumbles. He tried to stoop and take it off the bootlaces, but he's knocked it on in the process.
A couple of late scores for you, and it's Heriot's gone in front, would you believe? They're 21-0 down. It's now Musselburgh 27, Heriot's Blues 29, and a penalty try up at Highland. It's now Highland leading Melrose by 14 points to 3. 2 yellow cards for Melrose at the moment. Struan Hutchison and also Doug Crawford off the pitch.
So coming back here for a Kelso scrum. Knocked forward there by Selkirk. Some of the players starting to look a wee bit weary out there, blowing hard, hands on hips. Andy Tate will feed this. Bruce McNeil still out there. James Glendinning packing down on the near side of this scrum. Not had too much chance to get ball in hand. Young Glendinning, disruptive when he does. It's a solid Kelso scrum. So it's out to Dwayne Patterson. Patterson sees a bit of space, kicks it towards the touchline, but that's gone out on the full, so say Ian Hurd. So they're going to come back for a Selkirk line out, and it's still anybody's game here as the score remains. Kelso 19, Selkirk 14. 10 minutes or so to go. The line out's going to take place just inside the Kelso 10-metre line, and David, Kelso just the architects of their own downfall there.
Yeah, the scrappy play, it's certainly not helping Kelso. It's playing into the hands of Selkirk, really. There's another line out way over the top there by Selkirk. So Selkirk have their own mistakes, their line out is just not functioning today for them. But Kelso, as you say, they're not managing to play the ball where they want, and they're not managing to hold on to the ball long enough to really be a threat in the second half.
Yeah, it's just become a bit error-strewn from both sides, as the Gary Owen went up from Kelso there, and it's been palmed back by a Kelso player. So Kelso now just inside their own half. Keith Melbourne hits it up. Tate back to Patterson. Patterson out the back to Murray Hasty, who's come on. Murray Hasty, Josh Welsh takes the kick, receives the kick rather from Hasty. Does well to stay on his feet. Welsh gives his forwards the opportunity to come round, so Leg's going to feed this out to Bruce Riddle. Bruce Riddle, there's a meat hits as it was hit rather there by Terry Logan. On juggled, fumbled by Aaron McComb, but it's gone backwards, and he took a heavy one in the process from a Kelso forward. So Selkirk though still in possession, and Terry Logan again in with a shot. Busy in the last few minutes. Logan putting himself around back into 22. It's taken by Callum Anderson. So Dwayne Patterson knew it was coming, and he dropped in Patterson to receive the kick from Anderson and returns it, and it's taken in by that man Anderson once again. So Patterson and Anderson, but it's squirted under the foot of Patterson and back into 22. This pair doing most of the kick tennis at the moment. This time Nixon's dropped back. Nixon, he sends it down and into Kelso territory. This time it is trapped football style by Patterson. Both teams looking to play the rugby in the other's half as it stands at the moment. Whelans That's come off the right of the boot from Whelans. Oh, and it's dropped just in field. Patterson's taking a quick line out to himself, not hanging around here, and he's done so often in the last few minutes. He's put it down the park. That must have hit a Kelso hand, because otherwise Murray Hastie would have been a mile offside. So Grant Sutty now, the latest to send it down into opposition territory, and that's not a bad kick by Grant Sutty. It's Tweedy who's had to go back and scurry back and take that. Kelso now deep inside their own 22. So it's trucked up there by Frankie Robson, playing a captain's part. Bruce McNeil, player coach, heads towards the touchline, and it looks like it looked like I was going to say come back on the Selkirk side, but it's gone into touch there, and Ian heard David is signalling for a Kelso line out, so there must have been a Selkirk hand in there somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the last 10-15 minutes. It's certainly not been a spectacle, but the rain, we said earlier on that the rain wasn't heavy, so it wasn't as bad as we thought it'd be. It wasn't a strong wind, although there is a wind out there, and first half, I think we've probably got to give credit to the players that played some really good rugby in that time, but I think what we're seeing is that rain starting to take effect in both the handling but also some of the kicks. The kicks are not going with the players are wanting the kicks to go when they put them in the air, because they're sclaffing them off their boot. I think that's a wet ball. Wet boots are part of the reason for that.
I would agree, as some fresher Selkirk faces enter the fray, but that line out's been won well by Brown in the middle, and again it's Robson who's up and over the gain line. Tate back to Hastie. The left foot of Hastie gives Kelso another kicking option, and he's relieved the danger temporarily at least. We've got around 7 minutes remaining here at Poynter Park. It's Kelso 19, Selkirk 14. Selkirk attacking the changing room ends, and it's going to be a Selkirk line out 5 metres inside the Kelso 10 metre line. It's a replacement hooker. It'll be Fraser Eason, 6th game this season. He only played once last season, Eason. I believe he was a centre at one point. Selkirk A player of the season last season. Throws in, first attempt at a throw, and it's been well taken in the middle of the line out by Selkirk there, so that'll give them a chance to drive forward. And Eason's at the tail. Oh, and there's a penalty coming, side entry by 8, so say Michael Todd. So Bruce McNeil there with indiscretion, and now Selkirk piling forward, very much in this still, behind on the scoreboard. Leg not the best pass, but it's out to Anderson. Anderson chips it towards the 22, gathered in there by Hastie. They're playing with a free ball, Selkirk, so they're going to come back for the penalty. You'd imagine, David, they'll put this down the touchline, you would think.
Yeah. And it shows, Selkirk will rue their line out in this game, because when they do win their own line out, they are either getting penalties out of Kelso or they're creating good attacking opportunities in the Kelso half. And it just showed there when they had one. Bruce McNeil coming in to side line out, they've earned themselves a great chance now, an attacking platform only 10 metres from the Kelso line. 6 or 7 minutes to go. This is what they've got to make count. If Kelso want to be away from that relegation battle, that's going to develop over the next few weeks, this is the points of games where they've got to make it count.
They don't want to get in what is looking like it's going to become a league within a league at the bottom.
Yeah, that's right. And this is days like this that look back on and say, did we do enough to make sure we were away when we had the chances? And they've got the chances. They're creating the platforms. They've got to finish if they want to be, moving up this table.
So here comes the line out. Connor Ward's on, and he's lifted there, Connor Ward, and it was won in the middle by Andrew Cochrane. So out the backs now to Nixon. Cammy Brown in there with a tackle, and there's a wee gap opened up that Selkirk players scurried through. Leg now to Macomb to Anderson well tackled there by James Thompson, but another penalty coming, and he's going to the pocket. Yellow card's been flashed at somebody. That looks like Hamish Tweedy. Yeah, looks like Hamish Tweedy's coming to the touchline. It's certainly one of the Tweedy brothers. We'll confirm in just a second, because Aaron Macomb has taken the penalty, and again he's put it to the touchline. So it's going to be another Selkirk line out, this time 6 metres from the Kelso line. You almost get the feeling that it's now or never for Selkirk. There's around 4 minutes remaining in this one. They're adrift by 5 points at Kelso 19, Selkirk 14. Yeah, Hamish Tweedy has come to the touchline, so his race is run as far as this game's concerned, but the line out goes awry for Selkirk, and not for the first time this afternoon, and it's been hacked down the park by a Kelso player. That was the hooker, the substitute hooker, Ewan Knox, who took it at the tail, and he's made the tackle. Knox as well on the Selkirk player, so now they're going to have to go from deep here. Macomb, they've got numbers on this near side though. Josh Welsh comes back in field, but Terry Logan's managed to get himself in there. Kelso bench screaming for an indiscretion of some kind, but nothing doing so. Still in possession, Selkirk now. They've gone short. Leg had the replacement prop Milburn coming at pace, but gone back into the traffic. And they've got numbers on the near side, Selkirk, if they can see them and they choose to use them. And there's an offload there by McClimate. McClimate to Petty. Petty to Callum Turnbull. He's on a hat-trick up to the 22. Players on the near side here. Macomb picked and went. Kelso in over that. It's been stolen brilliantly by Andy Tate. Inside his own 22. Great work by the scrum half as the clock ticks down. 2 or 3 minutes remaining in this one, and maybe any added time, but the clock says a couple of minutes, and Murray Hasty goes in and plays scrum half and comes out with the box kick. Aaron Macomb palms it back, and it's well taken in there by Callum Anderson, but it's been knocked forward by Anderson, and Keith Melbourne's picked it up and stuck a size 13 through it. So Leg now sees a bit of open prairie, but that's been well policed by Dwayne Patterson, and Patterson's seen a wee bit of space. The gliding running style of Patterson we've seen so often, particularly in the abbreviated code, but he's wrapped up. The space didn't quite open up for him, but Kelso are in possession here. No points for Kelso so far in this second half, but they remain ahead on the scoreboard by 5 points as the clock ticks down here. Murray Hasty kicks it downfield. Josh Welsh takes it in for Selkirk. Welsh decides to run it, and he's got free from the first tackle, Josh Welsh, and they've got again numbers on the near side. Callum Anderson to McClimate. McClimate's got Bruce McNeil for company, but he's fed it inside to Callum Anderson. Callum Anderson heading for the line, and he's over the line. Callum Anderson. Selkirk players jubilant. Great score from inside their own half. Lovely interplay between backs and forwards. And David Ferguson, we've got a pressure conversion coming up.
No, we don't have. And Kelso, it'll be just ruined. I mean, Selkirk, you've got to take your hat off and give Selkirk the credit. Even though it's not been going right for them, they've been dropping balls, there's been balls going against them, balls stolen. They've kept the pressure in the Kelso half, so every time Kelso have got the ball, they've had to try and kick from deep, kick from the 22. And all they've done in the last 10 minutes is give the ball back to Selkirk and allow Selkirk to run at them. And we saw, good run in there, coming back at them again. Ryan Legg was involved in that, Josh Welsh, they just bided the time really there, Selkirk.
Yeah,
they didn't panic, they just knew they had numbers, and so they just used the numbers they had, kept moving the ball moving inside and out until, Callum Anderson came on the scene. He's a difficult man to stop from 10 metres out.
He is, as the pressure kick comes in. Macomb strikes it well, Macomb, and it's through the uprights. Michael Todd, the referee, heading back to the halfway line. And there's an injury here for a Selkirk player. It's Josh Welsh, so there's life left in this game, but it's Kelso 19, Selkirk 21. As it stands, the scoreboard clock is in the red. Dwayne Patterson having a chat with Michael Todd, no doubt asking how long remains. Patterson's going to have to try and give his forwards an opportunity to get under this one. The dying embers out of nowhere. Selkirk now ahead, and what a fillip this would give them for the rest of the season. Callum Anderson, he's under that and he takes it well. For me, he's been Selkirk's star man this afternoon. The fullback, Petty's tackled there. A couple of Kelso players, one of which is Shields, the other is Brown. But it's back on the Selkirk side. Legs at the base and he's in no hurry. Puts it down the park. Leg. Murray Hasty's underneath. So is this the last chance for Kelso? Goes infield to Patterson. Patterson back to Hasty. Swarmed by Selkirk players, one of which is Andrew Macomb. Macomb in with a tackle. It's all got a bit narrow here for Selkirk, for Kelso rather. need a bit of width, but it's trucked up by Ewan Knox. It's a good game, Ewan Knox, since he came on, probably earlier than anticipated for Charlie Marshall. Terry Logan is going to go the duration here, the big man, and he's played pretty well as well. Another is Keith Melbourne, who's going to last the 80. So Kelso still in possession here. Patterson tries to go, but wrapped up by Selkirk players, one of which was Fraser Easton. Petty's round on the wrong side. McNeil is at the base of this, and it's been put into the box. The box kick's been put up by Tate, and it's been fumbled by Pickles now. It was gathered in bravely by Aaron McComb, and now Andrew Grant Sutty's off and running here. Grant Sutty's got a player on the outside. It's out to Blake Cullen. Blake Cullen comes back inside, and Blake Cullen with a Hollywood pass, but it's been knocked forward by us.
Okay, cheers, Hardy.
It did go forward from Blake Cullen. He might have been better served just going to ground with it, David.
Yeah, you might have. You thought that was it, that Selkirk were going to wrap it up there. A great break, counter-attack. Kelso, for me at the moment, they're just not getting enough players back. They've cost themselves a couple of times there, not getting enough players back behind the ball. Selkirk are working harder than Kelso are at the moment in these last 5-10 minutes, and that's what's got them their noses in front. And you know, Kelso must be wondering how this game has slipped from their grasp.
Yeah, it's very much the one that got away as this scrum sets.
A quick update from Rayburn Place. It's Edinburgh 17, Mar 20. Mar have just gone in front, an Ali Rogers try, and it's all happening at Stony Hill. Musselburgh 34, Herits Blues 34.
And it's all happening here at Poinder as well. Kelso with a scrum to feed, but they're inside their own 22, so you feel they're going to have to go almost coast to coast here. McNeil's at the base, he picks up and feeds Robson. Robson goes hard, but tackled by Aaron McComb. He's been busy in this second half, McComb, attack and defence. Trucked up by Melbourne. Not making massive headway here, Kelso, but they're managing to maintain possession. Back to Patterson. Patterson tries the kick pass, and it's going to come to Thompson, the outside centre, but he's been tackled. But they're up towards their own 10-metre line. Logan now takes it over the 10-metre line up towards halfway. Andy Tate. Good tackle there in the midfield by the Selkirk player. Kelso though, back to Patterson. Patterson's got a couple of men over here, one of which is Glendinning. Strong run by him, but hauled down by a couple of Kelso players, one of which was Aaron McComb. Woodcock, he's tackled by the double try scorer Callum Turnbull, the second rower for Selkirk. Will this be a famous victory for the Sooters? Keith Melbourne makes a bit of yardage there. But it's been hacked forward by a Kelso boot. Inadvertently, Selkirk in possession. You think they just have to put it out. They've done exactly that. And Michael Todd brings it to a close. Scenes of jubilation on the field from a Selkirk perspective. They are absolutely overjoyed with that, and rightly so. They've come back from what for all the world looked to be a losing position in the first half. They've managed to restrict Kelso to no points scored in the second half, and David, I think it's fair to say at half time we didn't see this coming.
No, there's no doubt. We did talk about that chance for the unfortunate Robbie Tweedy, who came off with concussion there in that second half. It looked like he had a chance early in that second half coming up against the big tight head prop. If he just kicked it infield, he was in for a try to start the second half. But you still, even then, and I think Kelso and the Kelso supporters and I think the Kelso players in the park probably thought, okay, it's only a matter of time till we get that fourth try. We just keep doing what we do. But they didn't. You can't take anything away from Selkirk in terms of how they put Kelso onto the back foot in that second half. Kelso made lots of mistakes, no doubt about that. They didn't have a grip of the game. They gave up possession from scrum, from line out, from open play, silly mistakes and penalties. But Selkirk grabbed that, and they grabbed that chance in the last 20 minutes. Even though it didn't all go their way, they just kept the game in the Kelso half. So when mistakes did happen, they were ready and they were able to pounce when they needed in the last few minutes.
It was late in the day from Selkirk, but they will emerge victorious from this nip and tuck border derby. It's been played exactly as you'd expect but it is Selkirk who will leapfrog the Tweedsiders in the table. It's finished here at Poinder Park. Kelso 19, Selkirk 21.
Well, what a tight game that was here at Poinder Park. We'll be getting reaction from both camps very, very shortly, as well as taking a look at the scores as they come in from across the country. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back shortly.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
To see the fantastic range of learning opportunities to study right here in the Borders, visit borderscollege.ac.uk today. You don't have to go far to go far. Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whiskey making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com for when the heavens open.
This is Rugby Radio, brought to you by Borders College.
The best he can, you're in the army now. Oh, you're in the army now. Now you remember what the draft man said. Nothing to do all day but stay in bed. You're in the army now. Oh, you're in the army now. Side
Music from Status Quo in the Army now. Good to hear that one again. Well, it's all over here at Poynder Park. It's ended Kelso 19, Selkirk 21. Robin Purdy is now with the victorious captain, Scott McClymont.
Scott, congratulations. First of all, you started slowly, it appeared. First sort of 15-20 minutes, was it starting to feel like one of those days?
I think the pressure was on after the Musselburgh game. Ken, it's quite early for big games in the season, but we just felt we let that one slip last week, and we were needing a win today to kind of get ourselves clear of Jed and try and move on up the table. And I felt we were a wee bit slow at the blocks today. I mean, their drives, their mauls were causing us big problems at the start of the game, but fair play to them.
Yeah, and you got your way back into it. Then they sort of put a couple of tries on. You went down the tunnel. I think it was 19-7 at half time. What was the message in there? What sparked it as far as the second half was concerned?
Just dig in there, boys. Ken, just win the individual battles in the second half and try and play in the right areas. I felt we were maybe just kicking it in the air too much and no actually deciding where we want to kick, the areas we want to play. In the second half, I felt we were keeping Dwayne Patterson in his own 22 and making them play out.
I was just about to ask that. Was that a tactic? Because from here it looked awfully like the very big left boot of Callum Anderson was going to be used today.
I think he just got warmed up after half time, to be fair. I don't know if it was a Red Bull that got him going after half time, but he had some second half, Callum.
Yeah, and what does a win like this do? From the jaws of defeat, what does it do for the context of this season in terms of kicking on?
Just creates a massive buzz in there. I mean, Ken, we're a lot of Selkirk boys in the team now, and it's great to be part of, to be fair, but it's even better when you're winning. And I think we're looking forward to next week against Heriots at home.
Yeah, and as you say, Heriots at Philip Haw next season. Or next week rather, you'll be looking to build on this today.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, could maybe work on our line out a wee bit. I think the second half it was functioning a bit better, but Keith Melbourne was causing us big problems there today, and we were just needing to work our way into the space. But that'll come.
Well, Scott, thanks very much for your time and congratulations, a great win.
Cheers.
Well, that's Scott McClymont, captain of Selkirk, talking to Robin Purdy. We'll hopefully get some reaction from Kelso, but at the moment we're looking out, we can't see anyone. So I'll give you some full-time scores which have come in, and it's Edinburgh Accies 17, Mar 20. Let's hope we'll hear from Hugh Brown very, very shortly on that one. Musselburgh 39 in the end. They've got there and beat Heriots 39 points to 34. A huge win for Musselburgh at Stonyhill. We'll have a look at the table for you very, very shortly. In National 1, it's ended Dundee 24, GHK 16. Gala 15, Ayr 28 is a full-time result. Glasgow Accies against Biggar, we haven't heard from all day, so chances are that could well have been postponed. We'll confirm that later. It's all over at Canal Park in Inverness. Highland 17, Melrose 11. That is a full-time score. And Watsonians GHA, that was postponed from earlier on. In National 2, it's ended Newton Stewart 26, Peebles 11, and we're still waiting on the full-time at Lasswade. Lasswade 7, Gordonians 12 is the last that we heard. I think we can go to Riverside Park now in the Premiership. It was Jed Forest against Hawick. Here's Alan Lorimer.
Final score at Riverside is Jed Forest 0, Hawick 61, and really the scoreline of such a huge winning margin for the Greens was not unexpected. Jed Forest in a bit of disarray, as their coach David Grieve admitted afterwards, saying that they didn't have 5 of the front row forwards who played last week. Now that's obviously a big handicap, but you can't take anything away from Hawick. The champions showed just how good they are at times, with some expert handling, some lovely touches from the likes of Lee Armstrong, who showed soft hands today in setting up a few tries, Jay Linton's power up front, and the overall efficiency of the Green machine.
Andrew Mitchell ended up with a hat-trick of tries. Kirk Ford had 2, and with his 8 conversions, that brought his personal tally to 26 points. Jay Linton scored a single try, and the others came from Tom Hope, Sean Goodfellow and Charlie Welsh in an amazing performance by Hawick and a thoroughly deserved 61.0 win.
So at the top of the table, it is Mar who got there with the last play of the game as far as I could see. First place for them, 25 points. Of course, the game between Curry and Glasgow Hawks was postponed today, so that means that Hawick go into second place on 23. In third place, it's Curry on 20, just ahead of Heriots Blues, who got the 2-point bonus points today. They end up on 20. Musselburgh go into fifth now with 19 points. Edinburgh Accies in sixth with 18. In seventh, it's now Selkirk, who rise from ninth position on points difference above Kelso now, better points difference for them. So Kelso in 8th position, 9th Glasgow Hawks on 8. As I say, they didn't play today. And Jed Forest 10th position with just the 2 points. In National 1, Ayr didn't get the try bonus for the first time this season, but they're on the top of the table with 29 points. Highland retained their second position. GHA's game was off. Glasgow Accies was off as well. Melrose didn't collect any points apart from a losing bonus, in fact. And Gala also going away today with 0 points. Well, we were looking for the Kelso point of view, so joining Robin at the back of the stand now, let's bring in Andy Tate.
Andy, thanks for joining us. That, I'm guessing, will feel like a defeat snatched from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, certainly. I think we felt in full control, the first half especially, and we just didn't take our chances in the second half. I think one score would have seen us seal that victory, and that's the fine margins in this league, unfortunately.
You mentioned there about, the first half. It looked from here that you were bossing the first half. You went down the tunnel 19-7 to the good, probably thinking about a bonus try victory at that point. Did complacency set in at all, would you say?
No, well, we certainly felt in control come out the second half, and it just felt we kind of went slightly away from the game plan. Credit to Selkirk, their kicking game put us under pressure. There was a bit of ping pong, and yeah, unfortunately just a few errors let them back into the game.
And back here next week against Edinburgh Accies, I think it is. What are the main work-ons as you head into that?
I think for us it's just, we've got a chance next week to put the wrongs right. I think as long as we keep to our game plan for the full 80 minutes, we can cause teams some issues and come out on the right side of it. We knew Selkirk, even if we got that bonus point try, they're a team that never go away, regardless of the scoreline. And it showed. They managed to, off a loose kick, they managed to snatch victory there today.
Well, Andy, commiserations on that today. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time.
No bother, thank you.
We can go to Raeburn Place now, and waiting for us there is Hugh Brown.
Mar came away with a win, but it was a tough encounter with Edinburgh Accies losing 4 players to injuries through the game. The home side led by 7 points at the interval, and it was the Troon team, though, who looked stronger after the break and scored a penalty in 52 minutes to reduce the gap to 4 points. But in appalling conditions, neither team could add any more points until 2 minutes from full time, when Alistair Rogers pushed his way over the line to give Mar the lead for the first time in the match. And with the conversion added, it was enough to keep Mar on top of the Premiership tonight. Accies have to console themselves with a losing bonus point. Full time at a very wet Raeburn Place. Edinburgh Accies 17, Mar 20.
And that's just about it for today. My thanks to Hugh Brown there. In the Premiership then, there were wins for Mar, for Hawick, for Selkirk and Musselburgh. In National 1, the victories went to Dundee, Ayr and Highland. All other games were postponed in National 1. And the results from Divisions 2, 3 and 4 will appear on our website at rugbyradio.co.uk as soon as they come in. We'll be back next Saturday when we're back in the Premiership with a huge game between Mar and Curry at Fullerton Park in Troon. Don't forget forget our weekly Scottish Club Rugby podcast. That's available every Thursday, and our 6th edition is online now, along with the other 5 episodes with Dale Clancy and myself. So we'll be back here next Saturday on Rugby Radio between 2:30 and 5 o'clock. Hope you can join us then. But for now, from me and the team, a very good afternoon.